The drop last.
Good morning, everybody.
game set, and
Well, I
here
have
they
to
are.
repeat
Doing a
myself.
great
Hi,
job.
Ray. Hi, Shark. So hi, Libra.
We spoke to them about
Hi, Penguini.
afterwards as
Hey,
well. You know, we
Sosa.
saw them at the end of the day and talked about how things were going. They said they needed to lock down Bio more consistently, especially
Roseman.
against that
Hi,
Vitality
Chris.
lineup. Doing a better job. Will be contested elsewhere.
We didn't miss
looks like
anything.
King AJ here
No
wants
teams
every
are
bit
wiped
of
yet.
action that's going on around
what I was
Prison.
saying.
Pushes himself and the rest of his guild boys up onto the roof.
I didn't realize they were like really on time today.
But we've spoken about this landmark in particular. No surprise to anyone. Very important. Sits smack bang in the middle of the map. Biggest building there. But also, it's seeing so many teams use this as a transitional point for those smaller circles later on.
Yeah, I think if you can manage to hold this, you can just look at so much of the map from that top prison area, right? But look at this, Tommy. He's about to push on in. You're starting to see some shots come flying on out. A player just kind of laying in wait, trying to set the trap, but Tommy does not commit. He's too smart for you and these plays. But look who it is. It's Drake. Some good shots coming out from Tommy. He gets in a couple bit of tags and doesn't want to commit to this fight. I love what he's doing here. Consistently just moving around, maybe trying to get some of the teammates to come on in. Drake's still sitting here. Juki tries to throw the shoulder, flying on out. Look at us! Is able to bring them on down. Holding this in is Team Icons, but it's not going to be for free. Tommy tries to fly on in, but the trades are there.
Yeah, it's rough if you are Juki's and Tommy there. You just get split in a maze of corridors and doorways. Lennon's floating above, just trying to give out any information that he can, but it does not happen. And that lovely bit of information there we get to show the loadouts are coming in, ladies and gentlemen, as we move here through Circle 2. On board with one of the teams that we talked about a little bit at the top of the show, Twisted Minds. They've looked really good throughout this. However, one of the things I will say, they actually didn't finish as highly as I thought they would. Only 11th through day one.
They had that kind of banger sort of first map set. They were feeling great. We started watching them go a little bit crazy, but it seems like as the day went on, maybe lost a little bit of steam. But knowing them, we saw how energetic Aiden was.
That's so
with the
exciting,
camera on him,
Lindsay.
giving out some screens, hyping themselves up. You know that Smith and Knight are feeling that by his side as they look to move on in. Getting a little bit to the end of Circle Zone 2, we've already lost two different teams, being Team Izund and the Icons. So they are both been eliminated. You hate to see that. Where can we go else on the map?
Well,
let's go, Eddie.
To just provide some coverage. And, well, we spoke a lot about how they impressed yesterday, but they did slow up afterwards. They ended up being put into 6.
Duzamir just two-pieced.
Up in the feed there, by the way. Duzamir finding himself a pick onto Skullface. That's a definite turning of the tide from yesterday, because it was awful for AG Globals and brilliant for Fnatic. But Dongi here has a lot of players in front of him. This is Alula trying to recover, but Dongi finds himself his 9th kill. Absolutely cooking it off the same start he did yesterday.
They're going to get wiped.
Goes on out. It's just a range of kills, but Dongi wants all the smoke, and Dongi's considering pushing
because
Vitality
Lennon's
next.
in the water.
I love this. Dongi looking to get aggressive, pushes up here into this regain building, and knows that there's a team on the other side. Does not feel the need to get super aggro, but provides enough damage onto Enxian that they can kind of take this space. But a little bit of a 2v1 happening.
Nice shots out of Dongi.
Taken out. Enxian jumped off the back, left his teammate in the 2v1.
Dongi is
now they
frying.
get to swing out and get this. Enxian now on the back foot, trying to be able to hit that crate, maybe get a revive from your team on in quickly, and it's not going to be enough. Enxian take it down. Stuo, the last one left alive for Team Vitality.
I was not late. I was at my setup when they were dropping in.
Communication barrier between the three with different
my stream was like 30 seconds late.
And sometimes they just mistime things. You can see that happen there, although I'm not sure if Enxian actually just makes a mistake by accidentally jumping off there and leaving Patsuka out to dry. But I tell you what, Singapore Syndicate will not care. They clean that on up. And we go on over to our Falcons, and there's a lot of conversations throughout yesterday about how they weren't really making the noise we expected, and then dropped that absolute banger in the second half of the day, put themselves in top spot. What I will say, their landing position yesterday, they were leaving Soka over in Stronghold by himself, the other two going roaming around. This time, a bit more passive. They all went to Stronghold, assessed the situation, and have slowly moved on forward.
That's actually really
I didn't realize that they were going to start red on time
whether
today.
It's big map, whether it's this map.
I was like, I got like
an
an extra 10, 15 minutes.
How does the map go ahead and play? They're not this team that comes out and just fries immediately from the start. It's going to be one or two huge banger games that gets them into the conversation. And when you drop 25 eliminations and take the dub to drop 50 points, you're feeling pretty good. They could literally basically drop zeros all day today and probably still qualify to Saturday. That's the ridiculous part of it.
I feel like you're spoiling it.
Maybe come online a little bit earlier, because whether it's even just for the points.
No, they're completely uncontested right now.
Absolutely. Falcons fans are here in
They have the whole left side of prison.
In the STC arena. Moving over to Fnatic. This is a team that has definitely improved here.
No spoils. No spoils.
Boot camp that they had in London coming in clutch for sure. We move on
Spoiler-free
over to
zone.
just teasing Zephyr a little bit, and he's eyeing the skies.
Oh, you're
as
just
well
reading
as
the kill
Levi
feed.
looks to come on in. Won't be given much opportunity.
Smart
Those
cookie.
are multiple
Smart
bullet trails
cookie.
chasing after him.
You were getting insider intel yesterday.
Like a truck, and well, you even see Shifty doesn't need a rocket optic on it, just full iron sights.
Good
still
morning,
cross-mapping
James.
kids like it's another day in the office. But SGP Syndicate on the other side, still
London's
here,
dead.
still fighting. They find
They've
Renan
had
in
a
the water.
rough
Brings on down.
game
Juki's
today,
is able to
Juki's
kind
and
of find
them.
an elimination on Stua though, with the pistol in hand. Believe kind of trying to play with the team. You can
Let's
see
go,
Intense on the other
Benjamin.
side, all the way over at Chemical right now, I believe, a little bit far away from the team. Hopefully they can meet back
I'm
on
not
up
gonna,
and
yeah,
playing through the map.
exactly.
What I will say from all
It's
of
because
this,
like
by the
you
way,
know what's
Dongy
happening,
is
and then you're like, how?
absolutely
How is this happening?
flying. But Believe here just has Biffle over the other side and actually considers the bunker buster, but Biffle springs up to say hello. Believe trying to play whack-a-mole with a bunker buster and actually catches a mortar a little bit here. Trying to get nice and aggressive, and we're going to get ourselves a replay of this ridiculous
I don't like
from Dongy.
I don't like when they do this. They should do this after
Look
the
at
map.
just this, an elimination on the Jukies, and it's just the aggression.
they're in the middle of a gunfight.
Forward, and the little bit
Biffle
of
lost
patience
the
here,
gunfight, by
kind
the
of
way.
stopping this third party from coming on in. That is why you pick up this young man,
Oh, yeah.
right? I mean, everybody knows Dongy's the Slayer. Colm called him Dong Wick. I'm not really
No,
attached to that name yet or not, but he's obviously making it happen here. 13 eliminations for his team. A great way to start the second day of groups.
Absolutely.
I
The
will
only
say
thing I will
though,
say, the only
Fnatic finished
caveat, while this is
second,
brilliant, we
and
saw
they
them
have
that really
yet
hot
to
start
show their
yesterday and then
POV.
slow down through the afternoon. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. But right now, that is definitely a positive 13 kills in the bank at this point. And his team
Destroying
leading the
them
way in the
in
entire
a
map when
blender
it
right
comes to
now.
Kills slightly ahead of Falcons, who are on 14.
Yeah, Dongy's cooking. Literally cooking. Hey, Reen.
It might be a smarter move to back on off here because it looks like Destroy
Is the
has
audio
fallen,
good
so
on my
needs to
stream
run off to
audio?
try and set up some sort of
Like the
crossfire
stream
between them
audio?
on
Not
this prison
my audio,
roof.
but the
They will
stream
indeed
audio?
have company coming in from Na'Vi and potentially players arriving as well from Guild.
We know that
he's on
Destroy
7.
loves to play this. We saw kind of yesterday, Nate Dogg was taking that tower, and then you had Destroy and Raul playing the small side, as I like to call it, of prison.
Beautiful.
Kind of locking down both sides of the map. Anybody pushes up through those stairs, you got Nate Dogg able at least even just to make the comms to the teammates. You got someone making
There's a
their way
lot of
through
people
the small
bottom
side of stairs,
prison.
up that scaffolding on the side.
Nice,
They are ready to
nice,
sit there and hold.
Benjamin.
Nate Dogg had the sniper in hand and can hold it on down. It looks like that strategy, though, is kind of struggling to
this
come
is
online
toxic.
here, just because of some of the other teams we've seen that are trying to vie for prison, Fnatic being the main culprit.
This is toxic.
Indeed. I'll tell you what, the performance
Good morning, Renegade.
yesterday really raised a lot of questions about how they are currently in LCQs for World Series. Definitely looking like
Good morning,
bit the side
everybody.
we thought they would be when they came together. It feels like for a rare moment here, we get a moment to breathe. Levi, though, will have a lot of company as we see the Singapore Syndicate fly around the corner, clean up Zephyr. Levi surely next.
Limax is in a 1v1.
Is to try and escape here. Does catch a thermite. Got to slip these plates in, and you got to time this correctly, or else you're not getting your boys back in.
I mean, Limax was the last one alive. SGP, they could easily fly forward and try and
I'm
bring
sipping
down
on a
Limax.
coffee.
You can see here, Degley
Good morning, M-Star. The team is doing good. The team is doing good.
This wrap out through the tunnel.
Again, they
and
just need
keep
top
his
14 today.
life
It doesn't matter if
here.
they finish 14th
A
or
little bit of a
first.
moment of respite if you are Na'Vi. You're not taken out just yet. Now, as a reminder, folks, Resurgence is closed. So
Ben just died when
anybody
Resurgence
that
is
is getting
disabled.
eliminated from here on out, sorry, you're not coming back on
That's
in.
tragic.
There is no timer. Unless you have a teammate that can magically hit a buy station, buy you back.
I would
And by
like
the
to
way,
see.
Zone
There's a
Ball is
lot
going
of
to be
teams that I want to
absolutely
see do
massive
well. I
here,
would love to
dragging
see Aiden do
everyone
well.
off between Factory
and
and
Smith.
Harbor. And guess
Would
which
love
two
to
teams
see-
are there? Two teams we've spoken so highly about when it comes to positioning. Na'Vi
So
have tried
many,
to recover
so
there,
many
but we're going to see
people.
Twisted
Oh,
Minds taking a hold
no.
of it as well. So everyone now that you're currently seeing trying to
Eddie and them
scramble
are
from
gonna die.
prison could well land themselves in front of this AG Global lineup, and it's going to
Nice.
get mixing.
Ooh, all right, AG Global. Dark is the last one alive, trying to
No.
make it happen. Finds one, finds two, but look who's still alive. Almond, he's around here somewhere. Top prison, it looks like, actually, trying to take a
I
fight.
knew that was going
at
to
least
happen, but then
Dark,
they got
they're
2
able to
down,
find
and
the
I was like,
elimination.
wait.
This was the question mark for this team. Dark has to be the Slayer and really go huge. So the fact that he's able to find eliminations while also
They
trying
need
to
a
follow up
multiplier
the
here, so Ben
placements
just has
is
to stay
really,
alive.
Really solid. Now, Enigma, here's the thing about this zone. I'm getting a little bit of
He's-
deja vu. We saw this exact zone yesterday,
not safe
right?
top
Twisted
prison,
Minds, they're sticking to
unfortunately.
their game plan. They have grabbed not one, but 2 of the only buildings in
Nice
zone.
shots,
They have indeed, and
Ben.
they're on 11 kills already, so every bit of kill that they pick up from this point is going to be massive. Just trying to keep an eye on what Almond's
This is
trying to play
genius.
here. Skullface
This is genius.
just
Okay, they got
sitting
8th
and
place.
watching him.
They got
You can
8th
see the
place.
face cam there, just trying to guide Almond as to where he goes, using the gondola to get himself across. He's going to land onto BSL, who have tucked themselves away in a corner.
Where's the trade out of that
Leon
team?
having to back on off. They don't know that it's just Almond, so Almond will actually get the kill and potentially the loot, but then he is found and wiped from the board by Twisted Minds.
Okay, they got 7.
Minds, the positioning
fine.
paying on off. They do get taken out. Fnatic is
They
there.
had a lot of
Twisted Minds
kills,
still
so it's
alive,
fine.
but I'm looking at SGP Syndicate right now, Nima, because I'm looking at our scores, and they have an insane amount of eliminations. 23 so far.
God.
Still 6 teams left. Do we see somebody beat the Falcons score in game number 1?
Believe here has to just play placement for me. He's on the 5, just get himself into those
AJ's
multipliers.
right
Remember, he's got to get to
below
that second, and he's just got AJ on the other side. The thermite, does it catch? No, it's just going to be floor damage. AJ will escape. For a second there, it looked like it actually stuck to him.
Ah, I thought he did.
I like this play here.
Soka and them are going to win.
Down, let everyone else fight.
Everybody else is going to lose a member on this rotation.
On the outside, though, Twisted Minds. You got BSL kind of coming in, being a little bit annoying. BSL, a squad known for just being annoying to some of our top teams.
Aiden shouldn't have
Aiden
reached
gets
all
a
it
little
like
bit stuck
that.
on the stairs there,
Nice.
flies
Good
on
trade out of
forward.
Knight.
Though, will be able to secure
all
it.
gonna die.
And that is a squad wipe.
And Falcons
on
is gonna win.
BSL. They are taken out, but Twisted Minds in return get deleted. Believe goes down. I believe in third. I think they did it. Falcons here trying to be able to push Guild. Soka going to be able to do it. Team Falcons take game number 1.
Of course. Who else but the undeniable, indomitable Team Falcons to take our map 1 here on group stages day 2. Continuing with what was an impressive run throughout the back half of
Yeah, I
yesterday.
saw when
All
they had those
questions are being
PDSs, I was
answered.
like,
As usual,
they won.
here, we are so used to talking about this side. There's a reason why we're floating the Dynasty tag around. It doesn't happen often here in Warzone, but these 3 could well and truly seal their destiny after this Esports World Cup.
Brother, I mean, I want
No, they haven't, Lindsay. I'm assuming they'll be announcing that LCQ, which is on the 11th and 12th.
Brother, we got to talk about SGP Syndicate. Believe staying alive there to be able to get to that top 3 placement. They had an insane amount of eliminations, and they're able to take that multiplier and run with it. I can't wait to see where they are after that first map.
I don't know how anybody
one thing that's scary to me, though,
rocks
is Team Falcons winning a game number 1. We know this is a very momentum-based team. We talked about it sort of in the middle of that game, that it takes a little bit for them to heat up. I don't know if they need time to heat up today, man. It looks like they're coming out swinging.
Well, that's the scary thing, right? Because when it was AVB yesterday, and we've spoken about how AVB is the clash of the 2 biggest groups, they were struggling a little bit, right? Especially
I was really surprised that they actually went for the res on Ben, because they, like, you have to assume that there was somebody grandma's. It was and then they got 2 knocks, and I was like, wait, they might actually do this. But then they were both like pretty much one shot.
Luxury, shall we say. Some people are struggling with it, but they seem to be prospering, where you've got 2 games, you can go away and assess and come back in for your next 2. They clearly learned a few things and then have come into today with some more knowledge.
Well, let's take a look at those final moments of that game. You can see Believe there on the bottom of that zone. I love this fly cam we have in the sky because it paints the perfect picture. You can see Believe, it's actually a C4 by the hands of Soka that brings him on down. And unfortunately, if you are King AJ from Guild, it's just not enough to stay alive. And you got
I mean, King AJ did a really good job to get placement for his team.
No, it's just never going to be enough when you've got those 3 boys coming around the corner, right? That's just not what you want to see. But you do pick up second if you're Guild. You got to be pretty happy with that. But let's go back to Believe there, Singapore Syndicate, and what he managed to pull off. Because I think that they were in live for like the 1.2.
It's funny because they have like really nice headsets, but all that's coming through the headset is white noise.
All the way through to third. So picking up a couple of extra points along the way, as we well know here in Warzone, every single one of those will matter when we get to our end stages.
And I feel like the thing to note there is that even if you don't hit multiplier, the 20 points there is still feeling insane. So I know we got some amazing people on the desk ready to break all of that down. So we're going to kick it back to our
studio. Are you asking me, Ray, or are you asking everybody in the chat?
All right, thank you, Dandro. Enigma, that's game number 1. Don, A, and B just competed against each other, and it was absolutely brutal. Team Falcons take the win. They were already in first, but I guess they're going to be a bit greedy today. They want more.
I mean, they show up when it matters. Day 3, and they get the first win. Yesterday, it took them a couple games to get it going, but they get the massive one, and they actually changed things up heading in towards today. Yesterday,
my fireworks were July 1st.
Today, they switch up their
since
rotation.
in Canada are like July 4th is on the first.
They just all eyes
But
forward into
Arthur
any
was,
team that they can
it was the
punish
first time that he ever even like
realistically and leads
acknowledged
them
the
into comfort
fireworks,
zone of
and he
playing
was a
towards
little
that circle,
scared,
then towards
but
the
like
end
not
game.
in a
If
like
they have
total
all three
panic
members
frenzy
in the end
freaking
game, I'd
out.
say 9 times out of the 10
My
they
2
win.
cats
I want to
were
talk a little
literally
bit more about those
unbothered.
rotations when we come back. We do
Completely
have, we did have a
unbothered.
chance this morning to talk to the Falcons. Let's send it over to them and hear what they had to say.
What's up, everybody? We're outside the STC arena.
Why
and
is
as you can see,
Soka
the
wearing his
Falcons
headset
just
like that?
arrived. Before you take the stage, I want to hit you up with a few
Oh
questions.
my god.
Can we start with you?
I would
Soka,
walk by him
what is
and
going on this
knock-
tournament? How
knock
did you guys
that
lock
head-
up the
that-
#1 spot after day 1 of group stages?
those.
I mean, after day 1 of group stages, we knew we kind of played bad the first half, the first 2 games. So then when we went back to the drawing board, figured out what we did wrong, and then we fixed it. And we had a banger game, and we ended up in first.
Let's see.
Speaking
I'll,
of bangers,
I'll,
I see
I'll
the
see.
headphones on.
Yeah,
what are
why?
we listening to? What gets you in the
Why?
zone?
Nipsey Hussle, baby, always.
Always Nipsey Hussle. Let's take it over this way.
No,
to
that's
the lead
Biffle in the middle.
slayers. We got
Shifty's the one
Biffle,
on the
we
far
got
right.
Shifty. And I want to start with you, Big Biff. How do we feel about day 1, and how do you keep that energy coming in here to day 3?
Oh yeah. It's the
I think a lot
apple,
of the energy
apple.
is going to be coming from the crowd because we're sitting right in front of them. So you know, I know
earpiece,
Shifty
or
gets them
whatever the
riled
frick
up,
those
so,
are called.
you know,
Just
I'm
regular
sure the crowd would
headphones.
get us
Headphones.
going, but yeah, I
Headphones.
mean, I'm hoping for another domination, day.
Talk to me about this crowd, Shifty, because they love you, man. Everyone is cheering on Falcons. It's the only thing you hear when you guys are on the main stage. How did you get the support, and what are you doing to keep them so energized?
I mean, I just love it. I'm feeding off of them. They're always just chanting our names, and I just get up and I just start crowd working.
Pretty sure all these guys are like 20.
This, honestly, the first time I think Warzone's ever had like a home crowd like this, and we just so happen to be the home team. I'm making the most out of it. It's just very fun, and I'm just enjoying the moment.
Well,
I do have to ask you
World
guys,
Series
since you're
Warzone
at
was
the
in
top
London.
of the
There was a lot of home
leaderboard, you
teams
seem
in
to
London.
be safe. Even if you bomb out of your 4 games today, a lot of people are saying they could probably still get in. But other teams are in a much tougher position. Hisoka, I want to come to you on this one. Who do you expect to move up or down the leaderboard? Because we had teams like iZone winning some big games. We had a big shocker with Game of Gladiators all the way at the bottom of the leaderboard after day 1. What do you see happening here in the second day of groups?
I think the team's name's AG, maybe.
That's what I was saying the other day, Jimbo. That's what I was saying. I was like, oh my god, the maturity out of Shifty is like.
Amir,
This
stop
is not the
dropping
Shifty
on
that
this man,
I
and maybe
remember,
can climb
you
that
know? This
leaderboard.
is
I
like
know he's got a
somebody
ton of
that's
fans, and
growing
so do
up.
you guys, thank you for taking the time to chat with us out front.
Like he doesn't
All right,
make
thank you,
me
Pumpkin, for
want
that interview.
to
Great
like
hear
punch
from
him in the face
Falcons,
every
and
time
good
he
to see them
talks
flying
now.
high today.
Like
Yeah, absolutely.
now
I've
he
been loving the
actually is
crowd
so
energy,
nice.
And, I mean, Hisoka saying that they had a bad day 1, but coming in when it matters. Oh, slays all around. But the positioning, the adjustments, and the plays, guys, I mean, that was perfect for them.
Perfect indeed. As we take a look at our highlights, Seymour, I go back to you discussing the changes that they had to make to hit that home a little bit harder because I at least from my perspective, I noticed the first 2 games they played yesterday, Seymour. They were
I'm
landing,
assuming he was like,
Stronghold. They
since
were
everybody was
rotating
trying to
up
like
through tents,
blacklist
then
him
eventually
and
going
call
over
him a
towards Factory.
cheater,
You
and
mentioned they were going
there was
against
obviously
BSL
a sense
consistently,
of
and they consistently
like,
were getting top 8.
he was
top
always
8,
on the
they get a win, then
defensive,
top
so
7.
he would probably
they had
like
to change something
he was
because
angry,
even though they get a win
rightfully
with a
so,
50-point game,
you know.
something still needed to be changed.
Yeah, and you saw a change right there. It seems like BSL or the
So he was
Falcons
probably
kryptonite.
kind
What
of
way
just
does
lashing
stand
out
away
out of
from
anger.
kryptonite? Just keeping as far away from it as he possibly
So
can.
now
it,
that
yeah.
like
So he changed the
everybody,
rotation fully, and
you know,
it pays off
respects him,
immediately with a game
he
win. That
doesn't
should
feel
shoot
the
them even
need
further
to
up
like
that
be a
first
jerk
place spot.
anymore.
It should basically determine they're going to be in our next day. They're going to be in that playoffs as well. But I mean, we got to talk about other teams, and I think Dongy is a big discussion.
That
we need to
growth,
talk
like
about
that
because
growth of a person,
yesterday,
like
he was getting the 11
like,
kills in game number 1.
as somebody
He
who like
starts
I was
off
never a
today
fan
with
of Shifty.
another
Like
big
before, I
game
always
for
thought he was, you know, like
SGP.
arrogant and.
I think that's exactly what
but
SGP needed.
now,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And how
Now
many
I'm like,
clutch
okay,
players did Believe
good for
have, right?
you.
He was roaming around Chemical, kind of doing his thing, but he was
Right.
playing Disruptor, and I believe at one point did actually take Biffle down, but for Intex and Believe playing like safety while Dongy just kind of just was going off, I mean, that was, I think Dandro called it out. It was like at one point 23 eliminations, probably the highest, but
Yeah.
you had mentioned
Exactly,
they probably-
Jay.
they have one more
Exactly,
game.
Jay.
This is a
I have a
spot
lot
that
of
was
respect for
solidified
people that are
SGP.
really like example like a
SGP
bread
looking
man.
great in
Like
game number
somebody
1 already.
that
and also
is
a team
so
that was
good,
looking even
but
better
so
was
humble
Fnatic, a team
and
that
so
could
down
very
to
well
earth and doesn't feel the
qualify
need
as
to
it
like
currently
always
sits.
announce that they're
no,
the
I was gonna
best.
say, Z-Dark, right? That was mentioned from Hisoka, like they're gonna move down, but Z-Dark, right? He was positioned, I believe it was on Grandma's, right? He took down 2 members of Fnatic, but how smart was it of Allman to stay alive as long as he did, at least picking up 1 elimination and moving up in the placements?
Yeah, Allman, he loves that tower. He goes up top.
Redman is literally the same IRL than he is like on his stream. Like he's so kind.
The gas, but that's just the way it goes. Still secured a phenomenal game. Well, that's game number 1. Let's head into game number 2. Get the casters going, because I'm ready to start and see how A and B is going to finish.
Well, Taylor, I'm right there with you. We have one more game of Group A versus Group B, and boy, if that was the way we kicked off the first match, I cannot wait to see how does this second match
Fnatic
end
still
on.
in
Now,
second.
overall rankings here, David, let's take a look at this leaderboard. What is jumping off the page to you?
I think it's got to be SGP Syndicate making that massive jump from 8th into 3rd, taking themselves away from that bubble conversation, away from being worried about how the rest of this afternoon plays out, and putting your destiny well and truly in your own hands here, almost solidifying their own qualification. We are guesstimating that 100 points will be enough to get you through to tomorrow, and they have now crossed that threshold. But let's get ourselves locked in then. Final game of AVB here from Act2 Esports World Cup.
Right, exactly, Sticky. That's why I have so much respect for them.
I just know
I really have like a tough.
It's
definitely like a personal problem with like people that are just like.
Because this is some of the best Call of Duty Warzone we've seen in
Caleb, thank you so much for the 6 months in the Prime. I appreciate it so much. Thank you, thank you. We started on time. We're already on game 2, Nelly.
Yesterday started off a little bit slow.
I know.
Not the case.
This is not like yesterday.
Where are some of our squads going to be dropping?
We are cooking
right
today.
Out of the plane. What contests
I wasn't going to play an attorney, but maybe I will now because if this is going so smoothly,
I'm a little bit concerned about
I'm going to have all the time in the world today.
Juki's going to be contested yet again by Vitality here over by BioWare.
Yeah, tomorrow is going to be the finals.
Potentially trying to
it's
avoid
not match point.
Squad wipes as we
I don't think.
Yesterday. Patsuka's just going to hold this middle room. This was the top Slayer in solos, a player who I spoke to in the elevator, actually in the hotel, and he said Resurgence doesn't
probably.
suit us. A lot of teams looking at these guys no longer as an underdog, but more of like a dark horse contender. But apparently, they're just not finding their feet.
Yeah, we gotta win the initial fight here. I'm surprised that Destroy and them are landing there still. They haven't been winning the initial gunfight.
At the beginning of the game, as Bagel flies forward, Sidewinder in hand, takes down Aiden. BSL causing some trouble,
he fights.
being a thwart in the side for
Eddie's dead.
Yet again.
Go got his trade.
Liam will finish off Gorgo.
Okay, Eddie's gonna get his self-revive off.
To spare.
You should.
2v1, potentially 3v1 situations. Twisted Minds try and recover. Whether or not they send that yet again. Juki's gets bullets in the back, and we'll have just a moment to plate. And look who's arriving. It's the new Icons looking to try and essentially third-party this situation. Juki's stuck between a rock and a hard place as Enxian and Patsuka.
Juki's and them are just going through it.
New Icons trying to make it mix.
Let's go. They're fighting 2 teams. They're fighting Levi's team and Destroy's team.
Oh, this is not what you
if
like
I was
to
landing
see.
control, I wonder why.
Let's see what happens. Drake trying to be able to hit the slide cancel, but it's a little bit hard when it's a 2v1, but look who's from behind.
Oh my god, the kill feed.
Who's able to kind of make some trades going on.
Relic and Jackal.
So a flurry of eliminations happening here at Bioweapons as Enxian.
Let's go. They're all winning their ones. We love that.
He's still alive, but it's hard to survive when you got the double chow of Believe and his friend.
I gotta say, the way they've played that out is beautiful. Believe and Dongi essentially go off by themselves, push this, trying to essentially third-party this entire building. Whereas Intex,
Finals
he's
is 8 maps?
Okay. Chem. He stayed out of the fight just in case his 2 boys lose
nice
it.
Shot,
they don't, because they are absolutely cooking this afternoon.
I actually really like that Intex.
Eddie's playing that anchor role right now for them. Goldface and Ben are pushing things.
Bioweapons and they have to regain. Chemical has just so much loot available.
Very important that Eddie plays his life here.
They can kind of feel good about their weapons, and if they want to push back on over to Bio and maybe take another third party, maybe
don't like where Skull is because there's always a team factory that's going to look up at him.
Do that, but I love that we see this in the SEC arena. The zone is shrinking now. Players, they got to start to move as the zone kind of pulls a little bit towards that southwest.
It does indeed. Now, I mean, everyone that was fighting over by Bio and
Tamir and them didn't land at the same place this time.
Destroy here themselves, trying to hit their own rotation up through headquarters. Got to consider, though, there's a lot of rooftops around it. You also kind of expose and Destroy has company here. You're going to have Fnatic pushing on up. Clash between 2 Titans.
Skull's about to fight
D. Just going to check on out, regroup with his teammate here, try and set up some sort of crossfire. Skullface and Noob flying just across the road.
Yeah, trying to look over there towards that grandma's house, a little bit up here towards what I like to call grandpa's. Well, they're right next
You just
to
missed
each
their
other.
cross.
Yeah, a little bit, you know. So they're trying to just go ahead and hold on here.
Oh,
a little
Eddie
bit
got
of
the
a
knock on
breathing
Nate.
moment, it feels like, here in the map as the kill feed lights on up as I say that. As they go on through. Noobs, Fnatic, Almond and Skullface, teammates
They're gonna buy a
nearby
Lodi. I hope they don't
already.
get jumped.
They're just kind of maybe trying to grab a little bit of a hold. Currently sitting on 4 eliminations already, though. Falcons currently sitting on the boat, as we've seen them do outside of Factory. Moving on in. Could potentially run into BSL here, though.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is one of the
Jukies and them are just in
flexes that they were
such a
facing yesterday. Seymour
blender.
just called out down on the desk, and it definitely wouldn't have been something that we would have expected, but this playstyle that they have, Soka sits in Stronghold, Shifty and Biffle go off.
Surely
on their merry
Dongy gets
way, and they were
MVP for
actually
the
running
tourney,
straight
right?
through Global to do that this afternoon, but BSL were
Like,
in trouble,
obviously,
but
we're Fnatic fans at heart, but like, there's absolutely no way that anybody else is more deserving of that than
Dongy. And
Dongy.
Alula here got off to a solid start over by Bio, but not going to be enough as Dongy snapped. Dongy spins. Dongy shuts down Lennon.
Jukies is
and
last up,
continuing his impressive
and
map
he's
one
surrounded by a
performance, and
team.
also going to go back and pick up his teammate Intex.
Hey, I don't know if we got any first responders or medical people here in the building, but you
Jukies
might
is
want to go
wiped.
give Lennon some ankle tape.
I
'cause
really
his
don't know
ankles
if they're
do
gonna
not exist
qual, 'cause they were
anymore.
already
They are
14th coming
deleted.
into
That
today.
clip alone probably shows why Dongy went huge in that last map.
Vitality, by the way, looking to third party this, looking to essentially squeeze, but it's going to be far too late. You're going to have your Singapore Syndicate set up and able to push on out. Stuo gets backed on down towards the beaches.
It depends how the teams below them
trying
do.
to push this themselves, and we saw last time they
Nice,
just
down
didn't work
on
out
Nate.
for them. So we've got to be very careful about how they approach this. Moving back on towards Guild. They
I
did
might
a
get
good job
thirded by
around
Vision
Prison
in them,
last
though.
time. Looking to repeat that here in map 2.
Love that they're able to do that. They were made it towards the end. We saw King AJ try and win that last final fight. It just wasn't enough, though. They had a great map yesterday. Looking to do the same here today. We see King AJ getting a little bit
Nice.
aggressive. We'll answer
Nice shots out
back
of King AJ.
on to this Team Vitality. This Team Vitality is an enigma.
At
They haven't been
Esports
able to
World
really
Cup,
find it this
Misty.
game.
No, it's just not been a strong start any worse. That's in 12th coming into this afternoon. Their kills were actually pretty good, averaging 10.5 across the afternoon. However, an average placing of 8th. So
Husk and them got wiped as well? Oh, Eddie just killed
Dongy.
Dongy.
When you get put in a blender like that by Guild, you can see exactly why. And speaking about Guild here
Eddie just
on your
died.
screen,
He was
and no
C4, I'm
surprise
pretty
that Prison
sure.
is going to be hotly contested. One of the teams that has moved into this area, Danjo.
He's gonna get
is
res.
GP Syndicate.
Nice.
We know what they've been doing.
Yeah, SGP Syndicate. Now, the one thing I hope, I just don't want
Dude,
them to
AJ is
overdo
like
it.
a-
It's easy
like
to
a
have to get in
tank.
your own head
Like a walking
to try
tank.
And maybe think that you're the kings of the lobby. Nobody can stop you. Next thing you know, you're kind of getting slammed, and it's not very fun. So Vitality a little bit on the regain here towards that ammo stash house that I called. As you can see, Enxian and Patsuka starting to make their way
Maybe
up
it's
towards
like the
that
difference
prison. One thing
between,
to note
like,
here, we got Twisted
the
Minds.
other
They've
gamers
kinda
that
laid
makes
home
him
to the
look,
factory. They're
like,
holding
so
on in.
tank-like.
As they, I believe,
But
your kill leaders
in
so far
comparison
this
to like
lobby
everybody that
on
he stands next to, he literally looks like a tank.
On 7, Falcons on 8, and Horizon here needs to make something happen.
Lennon
He
and
has
them
to
are
himself,
wiped
finds the
foes.
third, but Rodrigo falls in the background, so he's got to try and provide coverage. Matty here trying to hit the res. We'll get it on through, which will give them a moment.
Like,
to
he
get
looks like he
reset.
could step
Bit
on
surprise
one of
story
his
on our
competitors
screen here
and
of
like
yesterday,
it's
but
GG's for them.
on map 1, we didn't really see too much in the way of positive news. And we got to flick on over. We find Fnatic. We talked about how impressive they looked yesterday. And you've got one player providing coverage from the lighthouse. And you've also got
Nice!
players
Beautiful
going towards
shot,
top prison.
Skull.
Skullface finds Liam.
I think Skull's looking to get a little aggro. Yeah, you find the down. You want to be able to get that cleanup. Immediately turns his sights towards Factory. Knights on top. Has to scurry away a little bit, Skull. Playing a little bit patient
Expensive
here. Saying, you want to check this again? You want to throw me a shoulder here, bud? I'll
Yeah,
make sure
Super
you
Heaven
don't
is a tank as
make
well.
that happen. Love the beauty of the trophy that we see
Especially
there.
when
What
you meet
everybody
him
is
in
competing
person.
for. We're looking for our top 14 teams to make it to finals to have their chance to hoist that themselves.
And we are indeed 4 teams out here by Circle 3. Those 4 teams being Al Ula, one of the bubble squads that we're talking
Like,
about.
gamers are short.
Then
Like a lot
Gladiators
of
that
like
continue to struggle for
when I
Singapore
was in
Syndicate
World
that had a
Series,
great game
I
last
was
time out, but
equally
falls
as tall
here. And
or
then the new
taller
Icons, again,
than
another
a
little bit of
good
surprise
chunk of
yesterday
their
with a slow start
competitors.
here on day 2. And those sides will sit and watch on as we see Guild here get pushed up close and actually take a stun, and the stun actually connects with everybody. Skullface escapes as such. Wars is here
I
to
don't like
reach out.
this.
AJ and Vision to try and push on up.
Skull's dead.
Noobs, though,
Eddie's
on
gonna
the
die.
outside. You see kind of a little bit of a battle
Nice!
here with Stukex. The smoke goes
Nice!
down. Hit some shots through
That
it.
was a
We'll be able to
big
find
knock out of
Stukex.
Eddie.
Noobs doing a great
So
job
good.
of playing a little of the
So
old bait and
good.
switch, as I like to call it. The smoke coming on out, thinking that he's just trying to be able to play for some cover, not expecting bullets to come on through, but look at this King AJ laying in wait, trying to be able to sneak their way, maybe potentially onto the roof. Guild making a similar play like we saw from them yesterday.
Yeah, indeed. The one problem is you've got Allman sat in that tower watching on over.
Oh my god.
About how you push that one out. Na'Vi, the squad that I said we should be watching out for, are pushing their way
Asia's
through
wiped.
the living quarters.
Yeah,
region.
Huskers is definitely not qualling.
Team Destroy. You might well have company as well.
Juki's
from
is
Team
a question mark
Falcons,
on
so
whether
all
or
of a
not
sudden
he's
we're trapped
qualling.
between a rock and a hard place because Destroy's going to return some fire. Actually, I agree with this play. Get out, regroup with your team.
I
You've got
agree with
Raul
this.
available to you, and Nate Dogg still has 10 seconds of resurgence time.
Yeah, I like this. Kind of
Goldface
Destroy. They
is
make a little bit
down.
of a heat check, and they say, we don't want to commit to this. We don't have to spend our time
like
trying to
this.
take this fight. Let's go ahead. Let's back on up to this building, sort of regroup as a team, figure out what we want to do. We can see Bagel does get taken out by the Twisted Minds, and, well, Na'Vi for now. They got
they're 8th place
control
already.
of
This
this
is
big
good.
building, but
They
the
have
Falcons are
placement.
lurking
I
there
don't
on
think
the
they have crazy kills this game, but that's okay. They've pretty much already guaranteed qualling.
You got to think that after coming out on top yesterday and then absolutely smashing through map 1, that leash that they might
just have to
been
make
on
sure
from
that they
Soka
don't
trying to
get
anchor
0
maybe
points.
lengthen
So-
just a little bit and have your fun boys
Any
with
points
you
is
for
big
tomorrow.
points
That's
here.
what matters. Biffle here looking to play through control center. There's actually going to be no one relatively nearby. So that gives you a moment to loot up, ensure you have everything you need to consider endgame.
Yeah, they basically have this entire outside of zone on the sort of northwest side of the map completely to themselves, all right? So we have a couple of teams, though, that are starting to make their way into zone. A lot of buildings that you can hold
Yeah,
on
I feel like
through
they
here.
show
Team
a
Destroy kinda trying to
lot of
grab a couple
Destroy,
these
a
houses.
lot
We
of
have Na'Vi
Aiden, a
grabbing
lot
the
of
main
Biffle,
big one.
and a
BSL
lot
looks
of
like they've raided in the water. They're trying to
Juki's in
make
them.
some sort of regain. Twisted Minds, though, they've opted towards that factory side to try and hold out some of these people, maybe having to come down from headquarters.
One of the rotations that is going to be very difficult here.
You have to release from the zip at the perfect time, Lux.
And we know that we have Team Destroy over there. We also know that we
And
have
then it shoots you
Na'Vi.
up.
Twisted Minds just try and keep an eye on things. Then again, apologies, next circle could actually squeeze up. So Twisted Minds trying to edge their bets a bit by just sitting one side and hoping it pulls towards them. We saw that same kind of
Wait,
luck
they
from
got
Na'Vi
wiped?
yesterday, and actually on the other side of the circle. So
When did they get wiped?
luck repeats itself, then they will have their own rotation.
saw
shifting
Skull
here
go
to that
down.
tower. Looking on over, it feels like you've got an ant's nest just below you, but when do you strike? When do you kick it and send everyone sprawling?
Yeah, I love
What?
that they're kind of sitting up here. It feels like Falcons potentially could maybe
yeah, they
make
are
a really
wiped.
easy third party between Guild
What the
and
frick?
Vitality if that does break on out. Vitality just kind of hanging on out here, waiting for Guild to kind of throw the shoulder, peek there, head on out. Maybe you get a good angle, but
It's okay. They
a
at least
little
got
bit of just
8th
wait
and they
right
got
now. But look at
a
this,
couple
Team Falcons,
kills.
They made their
So
way to the top of this building. They're looking to get a little aggressive here, Enigma. As
There
this
is
gonna be
3
an
teams here.
absolute bloodbath if we see this break on out.
it's 3 teams. 2 teams in this building and one team in Gramos.
In zone yet, but I just don't think they care because Shifty, he's on 7. He's tearing through anything that steps out in front of him. You got to assume that you can hear that Guild lineup just beneath
Yeah,
you.
it's
And look who's
hard, Lux.
arriving there.
I
Vitality
haven't
just
even,
scurrying underneath
like,
and
I
Shifty
can't even do it
spots
90%
one,
of the
gets
time.
crack, but not the finish. The stun will connect. Covering stun, whoever that was, just saved their teammate's life. And Shifty go trying to escape here, but will take bullets in the back, and the circle, is squeezing. You've only got moments here, and you've got to assess your situation and fly.
Yeah, I really want to see what the Falcons are going to do here. You're playing in the zone. You're taking a lot of damage right now. Gas mask only for Biffle and
I mean,
Soka right now.
the same thing
So
that's always
Shifty
going to
will
happen
start
is going to
taking a
happen
little
here.
bit of
They're going to
that
have a
as they're able to
PDS,
hold onto the
and then
side.
everybody's going to
Also
forget
kinda
that these
playing a
guys
similar
exist,
situation,
and they're
knowing
going to
that maybe
have
they
a
can
free
bring down the
row.
Falcons. I'm worried, though, Enigma, if either of these teams need to make it on down, you have a lot of squads that are looking up at you.
You do. Falcons buy themselves some time with the PDS
I think it's
plays,
because
but
yesterday
the problem you have
they
is at some
really
point you've got
struggled with
moves,
placement.
and if any team is set
So
up and waiting for
today,
you to arrive,
they're
you're
really
just going to
playing
be
for
a city.
placement because obviously they did some VOD
Twisted
reviewing
Minds,
yesterday and probably
again,
realized
set up in
that
good
like
positions. There is
placement-wise
another
was not
PDS
there for
coming
them.
out of the Falcons. Actually, Zone will pull slightly more favorable, but they've just got to continue to buy time for now. Yet another PDS. C4 goes out.
Well,
We've
Shifty's
lost
dead.
Shifty, Soka and Biffle will have to do it by themselves if they're going to repeat, and Soka's looking to push.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we were kind of worried about, was that Guild was going to try and hold them on through, but it kind of looks like a little bit of a third party
will never
from
understand.
Na'Vi. They're going to go ahead and wipe that team off of the map. This is, I don't know, this is just feeling awkward. I mean, I'm looking at our mini-map over here. Team Falcons, they are literally still on the other side of headquarters trying to get the buy off.
must have been running about 19 PDSs to make this work. I'll be completely honest. There was a couple of comments on the timeline yesterday.
How many PDSs do they have?
On top of Twisted Minds. Knight's making a lot of noise, but might not be aware that Shifty's slightly above him. Got to be careful because you've also got players arriving from Na'Vi. You're going to have Destroy just sacking on the edge.
Breacher's round!
Aiden's going to get pushed. Aiden takes plenty of damage from the PA, and as the PA rings back out again, there's just enough coverage, but Levi
Soka never going to win. They have height.
Destroy looking to move their way on in. Bunker Buster dealing some insane
What
damage.
the
Soka
heck?
just trying to play his life. Snakes are in. The form looks good.
Yeah.
You see Knight down below. Soka will go ahead, clean that up. Levi taking on out. He is just absolutely reaping the rest of this lobby yet again.
I will never understand.
Yeah, give them the
I will
praise,
never
give 'em the hype.
understand.
They are here. I think they ended that game on 15, 16. I'm seeing 15, baby.
You know what they do, though? They
Back-to-back dubs. We were
sit
questioning
so
how many
deep
games gonna
into
take
the
for them to
zone.
heat up. Yeah, it's going to take
So
0.
that everybody is fighting each other and they're just sitting there putting the PDS after PDS down. So that everybody fights each other. So then by the time that they push the zone, everybody is so busy fighting each other that they just forget that they exist.
There were so many questions after the first two yesterday, whether or not they could fly, whether or not they could make things happen, and it turns out that they have absolutely no troubles today. I thought they were going to be in so much trouble at one point there, but the PDS plays come on out, they make the rotation happen and just let everyone else scramble around fights while they needed to find their form, and they executed that brilliantly.
You know, I was talking to a couple of the other talent from some of the other games, and they were like, when, you know, the Team Falcons, they kind of started yesterday a little bit slow. They're like, oh, they weren't doing that good. And I was like, yeah, well, they had their one banger game, and that's what matters. When you look at these two first games, though, it is hard to not feel the dominance starting to emerge. They are good for those first two games, and they still got 2 more to play. So here's my question to you.
I can't believe that nobody else has done this strat. We've seen them do this in every single tourney, in nearly every single map, and nobody has replicated this strat of this team. Like, they literally have 5 or 6, 7, 8 PDSs every single map.
Brought in Soka instead of Sage, and look at the positioning here, just over the top. They've used those PDS plays to buy themselves so long to then take high ground.
Well, so yesterday they were going guns blazing, and then they didn't do as good yesterday as everybody wanted them to do. So obviously they went back to the lab, they looked, and they saw that they weren't getting good placement other than the one game that they won. So now what are they doing? They're doing they're playing for placement. They adapted. It's typical. I can respect that heavily.
Okay, we got this for free. Sick. I love this. I love being given position and height in the game.
There's screens at the top, looks, that show the game. But it's just crazy to me that nobody has replicated the strat that they keep doing. Their strat is great. It's working for them. Keep it up.
With no issues whatsoever.
But I don't get how nobody else is countering them, anticipating that they're gonna do that.
All right, thank you, Dandro. Enigma, yeah, Dream, come on, the Falcons, right? I mean, look, a team that came in and is now dominating 2 games in a row, and to my knowledge, the only team to win 2 games in a row so far.
Yeah, Go just probably streaming too, but come on now. I mean, when that confidence
Hey, Milks.
keeps going for them, that's crazy.
Well, because none of them have as many PDSs, so they're all weak. They're all weak pushing this team. Sammy, thank you so much for the 21 months. I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
PDS plays, and then of course Na'Vi, right? They literally played Disruptor.
A lot of teams to talk about, Infinity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's just a lot. I think, Guild got involved in a lot of fights there.
I'm doing good. How are you, Milks?
Depth about one in just a second here between Falcons and Guild, in which Guild played incredibly smart. Guys, I'm gonna be honest, that might be a Telestrator moment for later on down the line.
Okay.
But also, it's worth saying that Guild.
I don't like having this too loud
throughout the mid game, right?
because I want to talk to my chat without their voices blaring in my ear.
Fnatic into a uncomfortable
comfortable position, getting control of the map. I think Guild are a lot more comfortable today than they were yesterday.
Yeah, Fnatic getting pushed off of Prison was quite a shock. That's almost, I think, the second time. The first
yeah,
time
so now Eddie and Shifty and them are not going to be playing because this is not their group.
Fnatic, though, still in a very healthy spot, you'd have to say. But
however,
one of those key moments,
we're going to see about Breadman today.
Yeah, it was back in game number 1. SGP and Na'Vi were going head-to-head for a very long time, and yesterday we saw in the standings that they were side by side. I'm pretty sure it was the 7th and 8th place. So the two of them going at it today has big implications for, you know, how this day is going to pay out, especially for Group A that doesn't have a lot of time. You see SGP swinging in, Na'Vi knowing they're in trouble, especially considering how ruthless Dongi has been in those couple of games. You're trying to get away, but with SGP breathing down your neck, eventually they go down and they die. And it's just something to say, with SGP turning up the way they are, Na'Vi has to be careful to not fall down the list.
But it's all good.
More games left. You see it out of Twisted Minds yesterday.
Their first game today was really good. They just died a little early. I think that's the game that you're talking about.
Dongi, man. Like,
I'm not sure.
You guys saw how he was taking out Alula, like how slaying out.
Oh no, you're talking about the last game yesterday, right?
The movement, the dog.
Or the last game today.
The Baba
I'm confused.
Yeah,
Ding dong, you know.
No, that's a different one.
I'm sorry.
But we have to count the fact, too, you guys, Group A, right? They have to play again. Group B gets that break.
Yes.
So for A, the pressure is on because this is
I would hate to be Group A because you're the first one to finish. So like if you're sitting like on the bubble, like from like 10 to 14, you're like, oh my god.
With FIFA and his crew. Now
you just have to sit and watch all the other teams pass you.
Yeah, I mean, I said that yesterday, right? It seems like they kind of figured things out by the end of the day. Of course, they did walk away with that game number 4 victory. But today, I think right from the rip, from last game, where they didn't feel comfortable hitting Bio right off the rip, they lost those opening engagements to New Icons and Vitality. And here in game number 2, they're like, look, this is not working for us. We can't keep hitting Bio, so we're going to change things up a little bit and move our drop towards somewhere else on the map. And then, of course, we see the effect of that, right? Because Dongi is able to take them out and make them have to research again. But still, I mean, that is a big decision to make. That is a huge decision at this point.
Oh,
the game.
yeah, I remember.
Left, including the one that we just saw. To change
I remember that, Moiki.
Is a massive decision to make for Alula.
It's a big decision to make. It's not easy to change things up, Dream. As a competitor, you get used to where you're at. You want to alpha your location, but if you're not alpha in your location, the only
they got flanked actually by Wars' team.
Yeah, and I mean for Stiwo, Nxian and Patsuka, like they seem to always be there at Bio, just completely disrupting them. And I mean, we saw for some of the other teams, like we switched our strategies, but it didn't work out for them. So for some,
I'm liking the fit out of Dream Crazy today.
As a competitor, you got to be comfortable. You have to be feeling yourself because when you're awkward in those positions and those rotations, it's just chaos.
That's right. There's no time to be awkward, is there, whatever you're playing? As we look at our highlights, we're going to come up to a moment that I want to discuss, the final moments for Falcons and their brilliant play to rotate into zone. Obviously, Prison, though, is a consistent talking point, Seymour.
Yeah, Prison's a huge talking point, especially considering Fnatic hasn't been as much on the ball with holding Prison as they were yesterday. You know,
that was a good gunfight out of Nxian.
Guild is pushing them off. It kind of opens up that real estate for other teams to kind of pick it up. And with Guild having that ability to kind of rotate in late, you thought for a second it actually may have punished Falcons heading in towards it, but they had a saving grace.
Yeah, Falcons, of course, well, I mean, I'm assuming we'll talk about the PDS play here and just to say it has to appear. If it doesn't appear, we're not doing something right. Here's that Dongi play, though, you were talking about.
Not the shade toward their production.
This is King Dong now. I'm going for it. I don't care.
Come on, man.
I got to do it. I'm sorry, buddy. Dongi is just on an absolute tear, but Falcons towards the end of the game. I mean, Ellen, I can't wait to get to the play because it was just so incredibly smart.
I mean, yeah, we talk about how we'll talk about how like, those shifty plays,
no, it's 4 games,
plays,
right? Because 6 games, 6 games. Yeah, you're right.
But
I can't math.
Like that was insane.
Another 6 games today.
Hisoka too, saving the bunker.
And their points from yesterday add to the points that they get today.
That is important late game for some of these players. You have to save your resources.
You definitely do. This was a big play, the wars and them going off. And then,
That was
of
a
course,
big knock
Fnatic
out of Eddie,
trying
or
to
else he was
regain
going to get
control
killed by the
of
team behind him.
prison. Levi now in this moment was really, really tough, and it was a hard spot to be in. And then Raul, as well as Team Destroy, up there at the top, and I believe second place, if I'm not mistaken, Infinity.
Yeah, I mean, that final circle was absolutely manic. I think we're actually going to get to see it here right now. Yeah, you can see Na'Vi right involved in that conversation, and Falcon.
Yeah, 4 more
the
games.
reason they're able to
This
win
was the
entire
first
thing
4.
Is the high ground.
Yeah, and with Na'Vi being in there too, it kind of saves them, like I was saying, against that SGP, a big thing to buff them up where they're not too worried about that Group A finish. big wins from multiple teams, and yeah, people getting loud on stage. They're like, all right, we've been kind of talking a little bit about Falcons and how they
had a
haven't
good
been having
first
good couple
game
of days,
today,
but
Mookie. The
back-to-back
second game wasn't
wins,
all that
they're
great.
right back on
They
track.
were
You know what?
second
That was the
still
biggest thing
after
that
the
they said
first
yesterday.
game. I
They
don't know
have
where they're
something
sitting
like,
at
okay,
now.
Maybe
I
starting
think
off, it was
Dongy
a
and them
little
might have
bit nerves, you know,
passed.
especially on that solos day, but they have something to play for. They have a fan base. They have
They started
a
5
community.
minutes
They're not just
after
playing for themselves
9
anymore.
o'clock
And
today. They were
Shifty
like
said,
on
just
it.
one more would be like he would be satisfied.
Yep.
One more.
One more. Is it
Championship.
what, by the way, is it Biffle who's trying to overtake Tommy? Is he one in the conversation?
One of
Yes, he's
them.
I
second.
think he's got to be, right?
He's
Both
one of them.
Second
yeah,
earner.
to overtake Tommy, which
Yes.
I think would be a big deal. Now, we talked a lot about SGP. That Na'Vi battle that Seymour broke down was incredible. We actually had a chance to talk to SGP after this game. Let's hear what they had to say.
It's Puckett on the stage after the second drop, and I've got SGP. Now, Dongy,
I
we gotta
cannot
start
take
with you
Dongy
because
serious, like,
you were on the main
at
stream
all.
almost the entirety of that first drop, but you had Believe with you most of the way. What's working right now with this duo dynamic? Because these aren't your regular teammates.
Honestly, we're just running at everything. Everybody's like really scared to chow or do anything. So whenever we have a lot of UEs up and we have a lot of info, we see solos, duos, we pick them apart. If I'm not getting the kills, Believe us, you know what I mean? So it's like, we're not too worried about who's getting the kills as long as we're getting them in total. So it's the team dynamic, you know, and our team dynamic's working. We're not getting blooded a lot. We're getting a lot of kills, and it's working out for us.
I love the nickname one of the
Well,
analysts
Dongy
gave
is
you guys in the
young.
green room. They said you two are playing like the Bash Brothers, and you are playing as the core, the anchor of this team.
I think
Believe
Dongy is like
we haven't really shown your screen
19.
enough today, but you are also putting in work. Talk to me about what you're bringing to the table. Are you calling out the players? Is Dongy calling out the players? Are you just both seeing somebody and sprinting at them?
If we see someone, we're sprinting at them, but usually like we'll have.
This
a
is
UAV up,
not
we'll
what I
get
thought
info,
Believe was
and
gonna
then
look
we're
like.
just trading
This
each
is
other
like
out.
not
Like, if
at
we get
all.
knocked, then we're picking each other back up, and we're just flying at everything. Is working out.
Intex, I know there was a lot of questions. Who was going to be your third when Mutex couldn't make it? You've got Dongy. He seems to be a fantastic fit. Are you guys working around his play style, or is he fitting into
The
what you guys
stash
do
gotta go
naturally?
though. I
He's
hate
definitely fitting into
mustaches.
what we do naturally. Usually, you know, they're just running around together. I'm the anchor, so I'm just reeling them back in. They're getting the kills. I don't got to do much. I'm just chilling. Like, go for it, you know? Like, that's it.
Coming into the day, what was your rank, and where do you think you're
He's
at
not
right now?
17.
I think we're
He's
at
not
8th when
17.
we came into today, but I think we're
He
probably
wouldn't be
top
allowed to
5.
play if he was
Top
17.
5 right now.
I think so too. The scores are still unofficial, but these guys are moving up the leaderboard. Keep
You
your
know who
eyes
I would
on
have
SGP
loved to
going into
see
the finals tomorrow.
playing this is
I agree with
Scummin.
that, Bucket. Keep your eyes on SGP. They're looking to make the finals tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, the Baba Yaga of SGP, he looks like he's just ready to tear. This guy is an animal, and, you know, he may not have been the first choice, the second choice, but he was the right choice for this team, and now really turning things up to 10 for
Nobody
SGP,
picked him up, no.
really making a statement in the start
Hello.
of today.
Yeah.
I was a little bit worried about SGP, especially considering, you know, yesterday Dongy had that 11-kill game back in game number 1.
Scummin is
and
definitely
after
a
that,
little
kinda
upset that
trailed
he's not in
off,
this, which,
but
like, rightfully
to see them
so.
shift for SGP, and you heard it right there, they're just throwing out UAVs and they're trading each other out. Yesterday it seemed like they were patient, they were trying to play safe, play for that placement, but this playstyle fits them
Unrational's
very
not in
well.
it either.
Fits them very well. Just for my own information, what the hell's a Baba Yaga? Because you guys seem to know. What is that?
It's like a demon, kind of like a ghost thing. It's like a mythological thing.
Oh,
You never seen Ant-Man and the Wasp?
No.
Oh,
I
wow, that's
honestly-
terrible. That's awful.
I'm just laughing because every single time we talk about Dongy, like he literally has a new name for him, and I'm like, dude, we've
He
heard
likes what they call
Dong
John
Wick.
Wick in the
Shapeshifter.
movies.
Dong
Oh, see, I
Wick.
didn't know that. I'm like Baba Yaga. I want to be a Baba Yaga now all of a sudden. Let's take a look at our standings and see who ends up on top. Well, obviously it has to be the Falcons. They started off the day and yo, hold up.
If I was in it, I would have picked up Scummin and Unrational. I would have sat in that water tower.
But you know what? Ellen,
0
the thing
kills
about it, though,
gladly.
That is so consistent with what we expect from this roster.
Oh yeah, and you know what? Gotta give a shout out SGP Syndicate moving up. Of course, he said he was 8th, 103.4. Also, Team Destroy, right?
Yes.
Maintaining, holding that 5th place spot. And I mean, we know what happened with Jay. That solos day, just filling in for Destroy. Now still taking the 5th spot and maybe being in that final. Woo, let's go.
Hey, let's go. Destroy. We had a lot of conversations around him. He was sick. How well would they play? The brother came in and competed. He got his big victory. And shout out to him on the interviews, by the way.
Oh my God, Roseman, why did you change off of blue?
That Dandro and Ghost had when they were walking the boulevard. But Team Destroy looking strong, looking poised to come in tomorrow. Very, very good. Lula, though, another team that was on that bubble that continued to struggle. It's really unfortunate to see. I want to see Jukies move forward, and I hope they
your name is showing up as black to me.
Though, Fnatic still looking great, but I want to go back to that last game, game number 2, and I want to talk about that big play with PDSs from Falcons. Infinity, take it away.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it here as we bring the clip up, excuse me. Falcons again, you know, they started things here as we move towards the final couple of zones, and you can see them inside the gas. They immediately recognize, hey, I've got to bring out some PDSs to survive. This is actually a pretty deep into the clip here. Basically, they get challenged from behind, right?
Yeah, and I mean, Hisoka utilizing those C4s too. He's using everything. The PDSs, the utility was on point, and I believe he did pick up an elimination on somebody on Navi. I think it was Levi. But either which way, the PDS plays and keeping and maintaining that high ground, perfect.
Yeah, and just to explain that a little bit more, actually, Guild make the perfect route. I'm kind of I wish we would have seen it because Guild make the perfect route in behind, right? So effectively choose to use a PDS to go really deep into the gas, wrap all the way round a building to get behind Falcons. They are never going to expect that play, and really the only reason why it all falls apart, the reason that Falcons are able to win that game is because Levi gets involved.
Exactly.
If Levi does not third party that, Falcons are done. They do not get back-to-back games.
Well, I wouldn't say done because you guys know that they can clutch in those chaotic moments. We don't know that.
Hey, Tyler.
It definitely would have been.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right.
There's nothing wrong with a helping hand from somebody else, okay? And Levi came in and helped him out, and that was a great play. You know, it takes
Twitch
a lot
is
of
not cooperating.
in the gas
How dare
Twitch?
Twitch?
Players, especially myself, right, who aren't as advanced as like the Team Falcons or the Fanatics, right, the teams playing guilds. You know, I want to get to zone as quickly as possible, especially on that moving zone. I want to make, and that point, it would have been down intense. But now you got to make your way back up. That's not an easy trek, and you're also dealing with the teams who are already taking over that high ground. So the PDS is being introduced into at least Rebirth, of course, you know, Warzone in general, has truly changed the way people make gas plays, and there's a lot of exciting moments.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we bring back it to one we saw yesterday, right, from Clapper, right, with the PDSs. I mean, that's another play. I just think the fact that we've got PDSs now here in Warzone means we are going to see, as you said, more gas plays. The way I look at it is kind of very similar to when the Stim was being used for the very first time, right? That was one of those times where it's just like, look, when the Stim became one of those meta pieces of equipment, that's when we were saying, all right, people can now go into the gas, utilize them a little bit longer to kind of get behind players in positions where people don't really expect you to be. PDSs allow you to do that, like, to the max. 100%. You can survive for a really long time.
A long time. It's actually quite shocking how long you can survive with the PDS, and it then introduces
I don't know then, Roseman. Gonna lurky lurk. Well, okay, sounds good.
That would be more of a conversation, but regardless, great stuff coming out from Falcons. I cannot believe how well they are dominating, and I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, they are a team that consistently does dominate, but again, how they started, I was like, oh man, maybe they're going to be middle of the pack. No, they're top of the pack without question. The Falcons are leading the charge. You know, the arena's getting loud for them, and we are now transitioning from not only A to B, now A to C. We'll see the final 2 games of A, and then we'll see the first 2 games of the day for Group C. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the games will continue.
When we come back, the games will continue. Now watch the ads. there are teams that are being removed from their setups and teams going to their setups. So there's like a whole swapping of teams going on, which is why it's taking.
Over, and for good reason. It's because that man right there, we're talking Shifty, who's been tearing up the competition, dropping some of the biggest numbers that we have seen when it comes to the Warzone stage. And he is, in fact, the match MVP as well, and well-deserved, Dream.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what did he end with that? I think 40. What did he see it for? I mean, in total, 42, something like that.
Something like that.
Crazy.
But I mean, he's always usually the top.
Oh, there you go,
Roseman.
Roseman. You're blue again.
Tournament they've been playing.
Yep.
I mean.
No. What is his 50K bonus?
Yeah, and it really comes down to their unmatched chemistry, like Shifty was kind of saying for this team. They just look like they're flowing now as a squad. Biffle's getting going, and it's allowing Shifty to make those dynamic, high-knowledge plays. Hisoka holding down the fort with them. Nothing is scary for this Falcons team anymore. There's no fear on the map for them to deal with, and that is scary considering Shifty, at the end of yesterday, was already the kill leader.
That's
so
right.
The fact that he's kind of opening up an avenue where he could just skyrocket those numbers even more. Yeah. That's scary, especially with playoffs tomorrow.
Yeah, without question. Hisoka, that anchor.
MVP
Shifty,
from the
Biffle
winning team
going out
takes
and
an extra
slaying. Clearly it's working
50K.
out. Shifty has the most confidence I've
Wow.
ever seen in a player, quite honestly. But not only does he have the confidence, every player is confident to a certain degree.
Wow.
But he can back it up with his gameplay. Infinity, Shifty,
Things
Biffle,
I would
the
do with
conversation, who's better? Well, it doesn't matter. Team
$50,000.
Falcons are on top because they're all three incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And we already talked about the fact that was Tommy previously, and it still technically is right now on the top earners of all time when it comes to Warzone. You've got Biffle and
Foes,
Shifty
I don't even
challenging
know if
for
they're
that.
gonna
They win
make
here
it
at
to
the
Saturday at
Esports
this
World Cup
point.
of Warzone. They will unearth Tommy from that position.
All right, well, it's time to head over to the STC Arena. It's time to get our game started once again. Game number 3, A versus C. Let's see how it turns out. STC Arena, take it away.
Of the day were claimed by Team Falcons in
Also, I finished the 4th book of ACOTAR yesterday.
To see. Now, Group B have temporarily left the stage while Group C can come on and get
So I will
ready
start
for
the
the
5th
next
book
two
today.
maps of the competition.
5th and
much like
final
at the
book
beginning of the day,
until
when we
Throne of
introduced
Glass.
Groups A and B to the stage, we will now introduce Group C to the main stage. Milos, take us away, my friend.
Bringing up Group C. Coming up, Redman, Joe, and Foreign Jace. They are.
I just read that book in one day. It's so small. So small.
We've got Prodigy, Wiz, and Oki.
Sammy, oh my gosh.
Abwiz.
Sammy, join my Discord. Go into the hashtag book talk section of it, and I want you.
It's Clapper, it's a car, it's
Actually, I'm gonna make another one. We're gonna put.
Next up, we got Cams,
Hold on.
Methodzik, and Darga. They are Team
We're gonna do
Heretics.
an ACOTAR feelings room. So when you're reading ACOTAR, I want you, after your reading session, to put and write down how you're feeling
one of your local orgs. We got Krims, we got Hamoud, and we got
like, I'm really into that right now.
Zix.
Like, that's like my whole TikTok is watching people react to reading ACOTAR.
Of our locals, Imlex, Mojo, and Nanus, they are Onyx Ravens!
If the rest of the day is anything like we've seen at the top of the day, oh my goodness, we are in for an absolute treat. So make sure you do not go anywhere, because today is looking like it's going to be a phenomenal day for an elimination day in Call of Duty Warzone, Milos.
Absolutely. Nobody's putting any brakes on it.
Okay, so I did ACOTAR reaction room. So that is going to be a specific section for you to put your ACOTAR feelings and reactions. So if you're currently reading it, probably don't go read into that if you're trying to avoid spoilers.
We have a couple new teams moving on in, but let's talk about Group A for a hot second here, okay? Because we have
and then we have the book talk.
That's
just a book club type of thing if you want to recommend books.
Where Group A, you have just 2 more games to solidify your status as a team that qualifies for tomorrow. And taking a look at the leaderboard,
I actually never read the 4 version tie.
In the back, we have calculated that 100 points would likely be enough to see you through to tomorrow. However, that means that there are a lot of sides right now that are struggling. In particular, Al Ula sitting on the border there with 53.6 points. That would assume that they would need around 47 over just 2 games. BSL, another side, sitting there currently inside the qualification point, but will need some massive games to ensure they don't watch the rest of their tournament disappear.
Yeah, this is sort of your do or die moment if you are one of those 2 squads. Now, thankfully for them, hey, maybe some of those teams that were causing you a lot of trouble, maybe are out of the lobby, because we're bringing in 7 new teams. That's right. Group B, you're off the stage. Group C, you're coming back on in. There's a couple teams, though, that I am looking that I think are chomping at the bit. They are ready to kind of come alive, okay? Those 2 teams, I'm looking at Team Zix and AB Wiz. Now, Zix is interesting to me for one reason and one reason alone, okay? They are known for landing Control Center on top of Na'Vi. Na'Vi, they've been looking pretty solid, right?
Yeah,
one of these
you should definitely read Naturals and then let me know.
That threshold, right? But can you do that in 2 games when you got a squad like this that's in their home country that's trying to play for pride landing on top of you?
Well, one of the things about Group C, right, it's kind of deemed the softer group, but we bring in some heavy hitters there. You mentioned Wiz, you mentioned Zix. I'm with you with Zix. They're a big force. Although they only finished 13th yesterday, I think there's a lot more to come. They've looked very impressive in the World Series, bringing home 3rd in regional finals. You know, just last year, they barely had any practice as a competitive team, and then they've just taken steps every single time we see them appear. So I think there's a lot more to come from them. And then let's talk about Team Abwiz. Because my lord, what a trio this is. Coming 3rd yesterday, Prodigy picks up 27 kills, Oki picks up 25, and Oki and Prod are finished 5th in European finals. So they're a real force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I love this squad, man. I think one of the biggest things in Warzone when we look at it is consistency. Consistency is always
they do, Penguin. Like, when we were taking our photos for, they're like, okay, now do this pose, now do this pose, now look there, now look there, now.
Play it, and they know they want to stick to it. So I'll be curious to see if they do that here. One team that's on my mind, Cloud9, that you see there on the screen. They're looking in high spirits. Now, maybe when we look at the leaderboard, it's not feeling super great for them, but this is kind of one of those teams.
I did, Tommy. It's why I was running so late.
From the bottom of the leaderboard and skyrocket up. One person on that team that we need to come online, it's Foreign Jace. Did not have a great day 1, but I feel like kind of coming in here into this day, into this next group set of games, maybe can turn up the heat and we can maybe have Cloud9 shooting their way into Saturday.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hate to do this on main stage, but yes, Jace has been struggling. He's currently our lowest ranked player overall internally here. It's 17.5 points per game they need to be picking up in order to hit that threshold to qualify. It's a tough task.
Thank you so much for the tier 32 months. Thank you, laddie. Good morning. This is Group A and Group C. So Eddie is not in this.
Versus Group C.
Soka is not in this. Huskers is not in this. My pet peeve watching Warzone, people like game not spending money at the store. Fair.
To try and get to that top 14. So I'm seeing the plane come on through. STC Arena is feeling it. I know that they are excited, just as we are, to drop in to this first game of Group A versus Group C.
There's going to be a few teams as well to keep an eye on here. And Zix immediately finds Darga, by the way. A pistol drop that just goes all wrong for the Spaniard. The Heretic side, by the way, looking really good coming on into this, but contested immediately by Team Zix. One of the Puerto Ricans here has Nate Dogg in his size, but Nate Dogg wants to contest the tower and will lose that to the fellow Puerto Rican in JTech.
A little bit of an unfortunate situation there as JTech has claimed.
I don't want to say. Yeah, don't park. Like wow. Are you shaming people for their financial management?
Finding himself at the water tower here today, shooting out some of these drones, trying to be able to maybe get a little bit aggro, get some of that loot. You love finding these armor plates.
Sounds good, Ty.
I am starting to see a flurry of eliminations come across the map.
Yeah, we are indeed starting to see a bit of movement happen on out there. Destroy being one of those, finding Tenex. And look at this push out of Team Zix, looking to put more pressure onto the Spaniards. Cam flipped into a corner. Method 6 is peeled off elsewhere. It feels like the Spaniards are in some sort of revival scenario. Well, you've got the two Saudi Arabians and the Pakistani player looking to just make all the living quarters their own.
I mean, there's just so many areas on the map that are looking a little contested. I'm looking towards Stronghold. I'm looking over towards Headquarters. I'm looking over towards Chemical Engineering. We're seeing contests all off the top here as we're starting to see in the kill feed. Twisted Minds starting to come online. Omit here over at Grandpa's, as I called it earlier. JTech goes down. Elolam trying to take this fight. Answers back on the Raul, and looks like you've been able to keep this online for now, but just not yet. Elolam spotted it. He heard some of the comms. Destroyed, trying to run away. It might be able to be a little bit slippery. Fight gets reset.
Yeah, and Destroy does have to slip the net here because if he goes down, then a recovering Nate Dogg is the only player remaining for them, and Elolam is just going to continue to hunt. The Puerto Ricans need to pick it up a little bit after yesterday.
Man is down.
Awful, but they weren't brilliant, so it's good to see that kind of energy out of them nice and early. But here's one of the big storylines on our screen. Cloud9, we do believe they can make it happen, but they've got to have a day where they pick up 70 points, which would have been like 4th best yesterday, so they've got a mountain of a task ahead of them.
Well, it's not really a good start when you're seeing Jace get shot out of the sky, landing over here towards the
harbor.
harbor.
No, Dongy's about to wipe them.
3 members of SGP Syndicate, and they've already started flying forward. They want to be able to find Jace. They need to stay alive. There are 2 members alive if you are C9, but wow,
Jace just went big.
By surprise. Jace does get found. Resolute will let him go forward, but Dongy making the read. The wall bang comes on.
You just shot him through the wall.
Down.
Yeah, Eddie already played 2 matches, and then he plays
gets deleted
after these
guys.
guys.
Redman's alive somewhere, but you are put in the blender of your Cloud9 right now.
Look, Joe, I got a couple of questions about a few things when it comes to you, but that play, what are you trying to make happen there? Jace has just been swarmed by 3 members of the Syndicate. Yes, he finds one.
We're gonna find out if Jukies and them qual actually like right after these games.
Was just unbelievably risky. Anyway, Dongy, he's getting pushed. He's got 3 kills already, but move on over towards
Lennon's
Aula,
on 0.
Test this bit of situation here.
You should get Tekka here.
Intex, but just doesn't spot him. And the thing is, we might get to see everything here in Codcaster, but Lennon's got to do some
he should be able to kill Tekka here.
Intex, but he's just got to make sure this is nice and clean because Believe isn't far away. He's gonna get his ankles broken yet again here, but he does enough to clean it up. But the teammate here is on top of him. And the thing is, there's actually going to be another team arriving here. Twisted Minds getting up close and personal.
Leaving them go wiped.
This is the stomping ground of Z Smith, Aiden, and Knight. They've made their
that's
way
what people said
over
about
here
me.
towards the harbor, trying to push it towards Alula, but Lennon not letting it happen. Finds Aiden, brings them on and down. Z Smith from the top rope, though, will be able to answer on.
They only
back.
have 1 up,
so
2 up, 2 up, 2 up.
Aiden will be able to come on live.
Redman is in a blender.
Alula, that is a tough situation for you. You think you're feeling pretty good
I haven't
about
seen.
that fight.
I have seen this team get 1 kill.
Honestly, I'm just taking
Redman's
a look over
team.
map view as all that was going down, and Lennon is so separated from Jukies and Tommy. They've not got a chance in hell of being able to trade that out, and it's those kind of scenarios that may well see them not qualify.
Yeah,
for tomorrow.
Jace is
The squad's
dead.
Good enough, and they're just not executing those plays.
Juki's got a
correctly.
kill.
We look on over towards the Onyx Ravens, and this is another side that's got to make an absolute mountainous climb. They need 80 points in order to reach the threshold that we think will qualify teams, and Mojo takes bullets in the back. We'll get the smoke out, we'll get the plates in, but this fight against BSL will continue here at Stronghold.
Yeah, BSL's been doing a great job, but
the problem with Jukies and them being in 14th is that they have to make sure that all of the teams below them, I'm starting to get a headache,
placement. You need a really, really solid game.
Like suck.
If you are going to start coming
and have like bad games.
You can see here as we're getting to the end of zone number 2, we are already missing 1 team, and that was SGP Syndicate. So a heavy hitter in the lobby is deleted. Might be able to open up the rest of the map. Some of these squads to start moving around because we can see already some of these fights at Stronghold starting to break out.
They are indeed. And Alex here just biding his time, looking to bring Nenus back into things, and honestly, I don't mind it. The problem you have if you're a side like this, for every bit of time that you want to buy, that means you're missing out on kills, and when you're just chasing the rest of the pack, you need to be finding them. But let's move ourselves on over to Prison. Alula trying to restabilize here. Lennon on the rooftop. Tommy needs to get back on down. Juki's trying to climb the scaffolding. You have company here in Team Eisen, and Juki's just trying to wrap around the side. Ducks away. Eisen pulls off the res, so you won't get that confirmed there, and that's just frustrating if you are this Alula side because you desperately need points.
This might be the first time in competitive Warzone we've seen a Guardian actually be potentially useful. That Guardian set up there into that area kind of denies Juki's the ability just to fly on through. It's just unfortunate. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, AB Wiz, we're seeing, of course, Vision get deleted. We know that they love to sit here. We know that this is their playground, and they want to hold it on down, let these players fly on into them. It seems like a lot of teams right now, Enigma, kind of starting to struggle to regain.
Yeah, if you're going in the water, dude, you are dead.
Shark in the water and will eventually get
yeah.
there. Finishes it on off. The thing is, there's actually another player potentially landing on him. No, decides to float on over away. I think that's the smart play indeed. Zix here just taking his time because Jowo is actually lurking above here and wants to shoot a couple of players.
This is
and that's exactly what I was worried about. Bagel gets up close, but it will be survival for Cloud9 for now, but you don't want to be in this blender when you're desperately chasing the rest of the pack.
No, I hate it when we swap these POVs and I'm watching teammates just laying on their belly, trying to stay alive, trying to maybe play some sort of regain and try and stay alive here. But Tenix sitting up top with the Kar 98K, getting in some shots, finds Tommy. You're seeing an armor plate get broken. Maybe some of those adjustments we've seen on the Kar 98 players just aren't used to yet, but down low, you got LLM and JTech looking to get a little bit mixy here, but not too far away. You have Izun, Rodrigo, and King Madi ready to pounce.
You do. The Puerto Ricans will take the rooftop. Actually, they will be able to be uncontested for just a moment. Team Izun might well play this rooftop eventually, but it's going to take them a moment to get there. So let's move on over then towards the living quarters. The range of teams looking to battle this out. We've got the Onyx Ravens and, well, Control Center. Then for Prodigy and Oki, two of the big players that we said would come on into this and make some noise, but the Heretics backed into a corner. More company here from Method 6, who actually manages to catch Limax coming through the door.
I really like that play. They basically sandwiched that one player, delete them, sees a couple of the toes of Limax, gets the full, and it looks like Heretics have kind of been able to gain control for now. Laying around here, you can see there's one more player from Team AB Wiz on the outside, playing a little bit of that anchor. Meanwhile, back on over the living quarters, you mentioned there's a lot of stuff going on. Raul, last player left alive for Destroy. He's trying to make his way alive. He cannot. Crims brings him down. That is a squad wipe on Team Destroy. They go out, I believe, with only 3 eliminations.
Which is worrying because they're certainly not safe just yet. They might well progress on through, depending on the performance of other teams. But right now, going to be counting their lucky stars. And, well, Team Abwiz, this is the squad that we spoke about coming in as a big heavy hitter. Prodigy and Oki really putting on a clinic yesterday. Wiz essentially playing anchor. It looks like they're chasing after these Miami Heretics around the control center. Method 6 tucked away here. We'll get caught. We'll get down. It's actually going to be picked on up by Tenix. But Prodigy wants all the smoke and finds Cams alongside Oki.
Feels pretty solid. Izun here, sitting on 0 eliminations. They're not feeling very good so far, if I'm being honest with you. Enigma currently
I know. Can you believe that we had like a time where we couldn't swim in the water? Redman is
very scared right now. Look, you got the player.
Redman will not be qualling. He needed to do good in this.
Just flying out as a duo, but the trades are in. Tenix, you got to come down from the lighthouse.
Oh my God!
You have to help your team. I don't know if the Superi from up top is enough. They both go down, and even though you still have the resurgence here, Enigma, I'm looking at 30 seconds for both of those players. That's a long amount of time for Tenix to have to stay alive just to keep their team in the conversation.
Yeah, because he's in that tower, he will likely be okay, but the problem is then his 2 teammates have got to recover somehow, and how do you manage to get all your loot together from somewhere like Prison, especially when the circle's about to squeeze you all out? Heretics pushing up onto Zakar, and this is how these 3 play. They just get around each other, play off each other, just aggress everything together. A very balanced lineup. and just showing that chemistry that they've built over years and years, looking to hold off the edge of the circle here near Stronghold. We're going to have company from BSL.
Well, Resurgence is closing right now. We are out 4 teams already. But what's kind of the interesting thing to me, Enigma, I'm seeing 5, 6 teams right now on double-digit eliminations in this lobby already. We still have 10 squads up. So right now, it is about playing your life. We have a lot of teams who you've earned your points. You've earned these elimination points. It's now all about scoring that placement multiplier. That is what you want to be looking at. And when it comes to kind of those total kills there, I'm looking at Na'Vi, I'm looking at Twisted Minds, currently sitting on 13. BSL, a team that we talked about, currently sitting on 12.
Those points come on through. And just to remind you guys about the placement multipliers, you need to get 8 for 1.2, 5th for 1.4, and then second will give you that 1.7. That doesn't sound too far away when you sat in 10th on Big Map, but it feels like a lifetime here on Resurgence. BSL just looking to try and move through the edge of this circle. But this is the problem. When you rotate on late, you get held, and you're currently being held by Team Abwiz, who rotated over from Control Center and have found Liam.
And I love this. Look at our little mini-map here in the top left. Team Heretics, they've been able to already start this. Rap and AB Wiz kind of move in behind them to start holding BSL. BSL, you are hanging on by a thread right now. Really no gas mask to use. You have this one PDS, but you're still in the gas. You don't really have to move if you're Abwiz. You're just waiting on him. Prodigy finds StuKax. Maybe they can find some more. Na'Vi, one of the top slaying squads that we just talked about, sitting here on top of this building. This is a power position.
This is indeed a power position, because although you don't have maximum height from the headquarters region, those players have to come towards you because of the pole. You're also going to be able to look out on over Team Abwiz, who are coming from around the control center. You're also going to have Team Heretics, who are trapped down on the beaches just south of living quarters. This is indeed a great position, but you've got to take advantage of it if you're Na'Vi. We said they only need a couple of okay games, but a big game would.
Okay, sorry guys, I was distracted, but now I'm focused.
More than that, just seeing them through tomorrow, it kind of would, I think, give them a lot of confidence that they can.
Wow, AB Wiz and them are doing so good.
AB Wiz, you're able to hold out BSL, but now you got to make the hard part of getting on it. 2 players trying to stay alive. You throw the PDS down, maybe try and make a gas play, reset this fight, but I don't know if this is enough, Enigma. You got Na'Vi, they're up there. Look, they're looking down at you. Omit 2 players.
Wait, Mikey, you're married?
Everybody trying to play their life. This zone closes on in, but look where we're
so
going,
much
baby.
that I don't know.
It is just not even anywhere near here.
This is a massive snap. This is definitely going to benefit Team Abwiz.
Oh my gosh, if Smith just moves a little bit to the right, he has a free kill on Madi.
It just completely shifts everyone off towards that northwest side. Right now, people just scrambling to try and survive in the living quarters as Nenos finds Smith, and that will be Twisted Minds on out of here. We're also going to lose Team Izund, and we're also going to lose Team Abwiz. Players falling like dominoes in this one.
Oh, but you got heavy hitters still in here. You got Heretics, you got Na'Vi. We called this a power position. You're starting to see why. It is just a field day for them as they take out Vision. Squad 6 going on down. Limax sitting only on 2.
What?
You got 2K damage. So he's shooting, he's helping
No,
the
I
team.
remember that you were like older
below.
than I thought you were. I had no clue that you were married.
Indeed, and it's going to be Na'Vi holding the rooftop, surely the power position here, because teams have got to rotate beneath them. Do you have the PDSs to potentially make the play? There are 2 players with gas masks as well, and you could be well set up here to see an Australian victory, a big
I
game
know, which is so surprising, to be honest.
However, you do have
that
to
Eddie has like a...
This is much better from them and the Heretics.
Like, I thought Eddie's chat would just be filled of like young 20-year-old
I love the potential of the PA to light up the whole region and send everybody scrambling here, Dandro.
That's exactly what happens.
Hey,
We're starting to see the PA come on in. Heretics, they're laying in wait. The Onyx Ravens have started to move. The Thermite starting to
you need to
down
move.
Cam. Method's taken down. Cam's deleted. Methods, you're trying to be able to stay alive. But where is Daga? I don't know, but look who's still up here.
Levi's on 10.
PDS is in play. They are just flying on through. The shots are coming on in. Can they bring down the Onyx
Surely
Ravens?
they win
It
this.
looks like they're actually able to reset. Finally, here's the moment.
Surely
they
win
on
this.
10. Can they close this out?
Zeppa!
I mean, Levi
Zeppa just
goes
took
up,
a
down,
1!
and gets
There's
shot in the
no
back as
way
well.
that
And
he just
actually the Onyx
trolled
Ravens
this.
looking a great spot here as Mojo snaps. A 1v1, Limax will light it up, and Mojo goes huge for the victory. We said that they needed to pick up 80 points coming into today. It's a mountainous task up against it, but they go huge here in their first game of the day to bring themselves a bit of hope, a lifeline light at the end of the tunnel to qualify for tomorrow.
Wait!
Hey,
what?
If there's anything we've seen here,
Zeppa is the reason that they did not win that game, because he took a 1 below and lost.
overlook someone. You can never expect them not to make it. A team like Onyx Ravens being bottom of the leaderboard coming in today after groups
they're
yesterday.
mad.
Shift
They're
talked
mad.
about what teams need to do to kind of regain, prepare for today. They obviously hit the lab last night. They did their VOD review because they end that with a win with 7 eliminations, a solid 14-point game to kick it off.
Well, one of the things we've spoken about in terms of the Falcons, right? You get that benefit of playing your first 2, learning something, playing your last 2. If you're Group C, you didn't have any opportunity, really. You played all 4 games yesterday. If you were put in a blender,
same groups as yesterday. Same format as yesterday too. They play 6 games, 2 games in each group.
Talk about the kind of things that you need to fix is absolutely
But today,
massive, and
if you're not in the top 14, you are eliminated. You're out.
I thought that it was theirs to lose, to be honest.
It could
but
be my
second place,
grandpa.
good return on the kills.
crazy.
Will more than likely guarantee them through to tomorrow.
I mean, they came down in second place. You still got 20 eliminations. So let's take a look at how that sort of end game did happen on through, because this was really awkward, right? Na'Vi, they had
That was
this
a
power
joke.
position until it's not a power position.
I'm actually
right?
kind of
You
like
see two of them
angry
jump
that Modern
on,
Warzone
definitely
tweeted that,
far from
because like
behind,
that was
but it's just a
very
quick
much
little
so
push
clearly
out
a
and trade
joke.
that happens on through, and it's just
And now this
basically some of
person's
these
like
trades
dealing with
coming
like
on in. Some great
unwarranted hate
positioning
for
from
like
Onyx
no
Ravens At the
reason.
end of the day, it's Mojo ending it on out against Limax. You love to see it. Na'Vi, though, you don't hate it too much if you are them. 20 eliminations, second place, 1.7 multiplier. We said they needed to have an okay next 2 games. Well, hey, that's a great way to kick it off.
Yeah,
It was 1,000% a joke. 1,000% a joke.
You're in good positions, but you're just not seeing those things out. I think they were lucky because what happens is that all the engagements that are going on.
Even the casters that were there tweeted out saying that he was just kidding.
But again, I think that will be enough to see them through to tomorrow. Maybe they can apply and give themselves a bit of freedom in this next game in order to just like kind of, okay, how do we do when we actually run at our opposition?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. First game of Group A versus Group C. Done.
So
That's enough for Enigma
yesterday during the cast, one of like the
about
analysts made a joke about how mouse and key is a cheat code, and he's like, I'm not going to talk about it.
A, so those teams at the bottom, well,
And then Modern Warzone clipped that, and he tweeted out, one of the analysts on the desk said that MK is a cheat code, and then like literally blew up on Twitter. Everybody got so mad, so upset.
It's just one of those teams, and I'll fully admit, I was not expecting them to do anything whatsoever, especially after yesterday, where they were pretty silent. I think they're currently sitting at something like previous to this game, obviously, like 19th or 20th.
They were down there.
They are down there for sure. This is going to put a lot of pressure on some of those teams that want to get on the bubble, want to qualify for the final day. Big, big game from Onyx Ravens.
And this is the first time that we actually see a team in the danger zone. Your Cloud9,
I have to leave
your
now. That's
AG
okay.
Globals, and your gaming.
We'll have the VODs up.
actually stepping up to the task of trying to battle their way out of the trenches and trying to put some pressure on those bubble
kidding.
teams. It's a
He was
huge moment for Onyx
1,000%
Ravens,
kidding.
giving themselves a chance at that day coming up, trying to get to the playoffs.
And honestly, I didn't expect them to win that final zone because I was looking at that point, Na'Vi, top green, PDS is out, overlooking tents. They were lasering everyone. I thought it was their game for sure. They dropped down and they just couldn't take out Onyx Ravens.
Do you know, it's so funny. This must be the 3rd time this has happened now. I think it is the 3rd time, at least from my memory.
We're in second Rogers, but now they're not playing, so they might get like bumped by some teams because they're not playing.
And they even had the PDSs that we've already had that kind of lengthy discussion with.
That's
so
right.
for them not to walk away with first is so gut-wrenching. And I think, again, you kind of add another layer to that with the idea that they're going head-to-head with Onyx Ravens, which I think in their mind,
I'm just really proud of them because like they have the hardest pool by far.
We absolutely should have won that one. Also worth saying, though,
and they are in second place.
Yeah, no ice in Australia, I guess.
It is very hot.
Close it out for these games, and I think for Na'Vi, you know, we keep talking about these moments for them where they just can't close out the game, but it's another game for Na'Vi where they keep in
it's taking me everything to like not tweet.
Last game when the Falcons
but
won,
I'm not going to tweet until finals.
Place, and that's going to be good considering they only have
until
one more
finals
game
is
left,
done.
and they're still fighting for that top side.
Because one, I don't want to put a curse on them.
Towards playoffs.
And
Nobody's
two,
confirmed just yet. I would say up there.
What if they're doing really, really good, and then they get slammed in finals?
Big change up.
Which I hope that's not the case.
Big change up indeed. Onyx Ravens making their fans proud, and well, making us proud here on the desk. We start getting towards the tail end, and this is where I start to see Na'Vi again. Top green. They've got everybody in their line of sight. You can wallbang.
However, if they're
tips,
playing
right?
really good right now,
to the left, but I'm thinking
that tells me that they're going to play really good in finals. Because
right,
they are playing in the hardest pool. Like, that is pretty much going to the finals.
Well, he takes on the entire world, beams them down.
I have a lot of faith.
And that's where you just got to rely on yourself.
And they're
you see how
always fighting like the teams that are going to be in finals. So I do have a lot of faith.
Mojo was the one who was in the water swimming for his life. I can't remember who it was, but he was trying to get away from the player.
That's amazing, Miguel. I hope you had a wonderful July 4th.
It was one of those things for Onyx Ravens that, you know, you see moments like that for them. You think you're just going to count them out of the game, but
Red is sniping.
The resilience is incredible.
They're just struggling.
Without question, you have to have resilience at this stage. If you do not, well, your regain's not going to happen. You don't regain, well, you're not going to make it far. And,
knocking on wood. Yep, knocking on wood. I just knocked on wood right now.
Conversation shifts to them. They're now very much in the danger zone. Things are getting scarier even now because Onyx Ravens, they take a win. They were in 19th. They could be shooting up past
finals is tomorrow. Yep,
yeah,
same time
PSL
tomorrow.
Continue to be a problem for some of the fan favorite teams here. They were the ones to remove Alula, who, I mean, to be frank, they also were not having a good time leading up to that moment. We could see them kind of flailing a little bit, just trying to survive for long enough to get the resurgence, get your teammates back in. They just do not feel comfortable right now. And I'm really not sure what it is. I think a lot of people were talking about, you know, are Alula in this situation where maybe they're getting too aggressive, too solo on these plays?
Yeah.
Or is it a situation where they're just not having a good rotation in the middle of the map? I really don't know. But it is worth saying now, we kind of mentioned the situation that Alula were in before we got into the game.
Yeah.
There was 1 point between them and Zizix. Zizix have, I think it's 4 games, including the one that we just saw. Alula only have 2.
So today's game, someone is, yeah, 7 teams are getting eliminated today.
Incredible final game for Alula to make it into the final day.
Hail Marys. Well, let's see who has to throw that Hail Mary. We take a look
How
at our
Ashley?
standings, and obviously at the top has to still be
Thanks, Misty.
Team Falcons. They've been dominating back-to-back win just a little bit earlier, still sitting at 163. Fnatic, Na'Vi, Guild just below them, but there are some teams in a danger zone and a point threshold that needs to be met.
Yeah, you're kind of sitting at that 7th
Alula,
to 8th spot
16.
right now where we have our eyes on. Chip was breaking down the math between games and he was tweeting it out and he was saying
they will most likely be getting eliminated. Breadman is pretty much impossible for him to qual at this point.
That threshold is starting to shift higher a little bit, and if you're a team looking at making that comeback into the playoffs tomorrow, you're kind of aiming for that 100
Falcons is Biffle and Soka.
That's going to separate you from the rest, put you into a more comfortable position, and obviously for some, it's going to be a harder task than others, but it's still possible. I mean, we saw Falcons yesterday put up 50 points in a game, so you
not
turn
looking
up
good,
in one
foes.
game,
It's
you shift
not
that
looking
narrative
good.
immediately.
That's Falcons, though. I mean, that's Falcons. I don't think there's many teams that can put a 50-point game up.
I agree.
I mean, the Falcons, if anyone's going to do it, we know it's going to be Falcons. I mean, Ellen knows what's up with that. So.
Yeah, she definitely does. But the competitors here are stellar, every single one of them. And the thing is, now it's a matter of, for Group A, if you are on the bubble or if you are a little bit further down in the danger zone, it's a matter of how much do you want it, right? This is your time to shine. When you still have Group B to play, still Group C to play, right? That's a scary prospect taken whenever you're down the list.
Exactly.
But it seems like Game 3 is over with, and it's time now to move into Game number 4. Let's send it over to our casters. We got Shift and Ghost to call the next 3.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the caster booth.
They could.
Out there at the STC Arena.
If they get like a 25 kill win, they'll be chilling.
The cast, and it's going to be fiery because we got a lot of math to do, my friend. We've been cooking up some stats. We've got thresholds. We got all types of things we can talk about. But at the end of the day, you've got to be top 14.
We find out right here. Like, this is the one that we find out.
Like the number will be right around 100 points.
Because
so
after this game, they're done on the day.
One more drop left. Do or die time. The only bit of good news for some of the squads like Alula, which you keep bringing up, is hey, not the greatest first 3 drops, but they finished their day yesterday with a 26-point win. Is that going to be enough? Hard to say. On the other side of things, though, the teams that have stayed super
Bread has 3 more games. Yeah, but Bread is 70 points behind already.
And then saying, the kills will come to us. Let's just get our multipliers first. And Na'Vi is the prime example of that.
Yeah, it's a perfect summary of the Na'Vi team. They've been rotating early. They say the kills will come, and they find them. Levi had
We're talking about, Tommy's team right now is in 16th. They're down 10 points to 14th. But this is their last game of the day, whereas other people have 2 more games.
7 kills to boot, so there is kind of a high risk, high reward.
They're already in like 16th.
A lot of our teams. especially if you're down into the 14th or below spots right now. You know that Group A, this is your last chance to make a move on this leaderboard. You've got to put up a ton of points. I expect to see gameplay completely shift at this point. So I hold shift, my friend.
Yes, sir.
We're about to get into the game, and I gotta say, if we're seeing teams of 3 rotated around the map together, that means we're gonna see teams of 3 fall early.
That's very true. And the thing
I think
is,
Huskers
it's not
is,
just conversations around kills versus
he has
placement at
2
this
more
point,
games,
because it's both. You have to be able to secure both of those. On the other
Oh,
front,
Aiden's
not
hands
just
are
talking
cold.
about groups like Aula, but also looking at teams like Izon, who had a great individual map yesterday. They're on the bubble. They need maybe 9 to 12 points. That's not a guarantee. So there is
yeah,
this
but the
level of
problem
how much
is
do you
that
wanna play risky,
Believe
how
and
much do you
Doggy and
wanna
them
stay
are
safe.
pushing them
Let's get it out.
instantly.
Nothing.
That's why that they go down so early.
Everything earned. Welcome into game number 4 of the group stages, day 2. The last
They get
chance
singled
for
out by
Group A to
Doggy,
make a
and then
move.
there's a team that lands right in front of them. I think it's AB Wiz and them, and then they're just cornered into bio.
And immediately we see Dongi, Believe, Intex first to hit the ground. And that team has been dominating today, had a frustrating last map, but likely passed our threshold at this point, currently in 5th place. Watch out for that SGP Syndicate squad. They have been Reapers on the map. Speaking of some math here, Shift, something else to keep in mind, high risk, high reward, certainly valuable, but big question mark is if somebody can wipe some of the top teams early, the top slaying teams, that means there's more points to go around for a team like Aula.
And that's the other part of it is, you know, we deal with kind of the opening of what today was with A versus B. Falcons were taking all the freaking points away. So there is this level of who can actually do almost the exact same thing, especially for those groups in C that are getting their first real taste of what the day has looked like to this point. So yeah, lots of interesting conversation points, but I think the biggest thing here, you got to keep your eyes on teams like Al Ula, they're number 2 in purple, Izon's team number 7 in white, and Destroy's team still number 1 in red.
Yeah, Destroy is
How's Zeppa and them doing?
We're gonna hop on board with our last
Surely
map.
they're top 14.
Winners,
They've been
Team
doing
Onyx
quite well.
Ravens had a 14-point game, not too shabby, but they need about like a 50-point win to even be in the conversation, to be making it to the finals. And right now they're frustratingly rather falling on the other side. I think that's almost a full team.
Lennon
Speaking of
with the
full team,
opening pick on
one goes
Doggy.
down, 6 gets taken
Oh,
out, but
somebody's
Squad
already
10
dead.
fully
That is
eliminated already. We told you
tragic.
it was going to be hot. We told you teams were going to rotate together.
That is
squad out of
tragic.
here. I believe that is
Heretics.
our Heretic squad, who had a great last map.
And not just a great last map, they had a great day yesterday. They were one of our most consistent squads in terms of all the individuals participating evenly, and also just finding consistent results and overall placement.
There we
So
go, guys.
definitely a bit
This
odd
is
to see them fall early, as Al Ula is also in a bit of trouble here fighting up against Intex and Co.
Yeah, this is trades back and forth.
Believe
Both
just
teams
spit on
suffered some losses,
Jukies.
but now Tommy, all on his last legs, he has to win this. Gets Believe. Cuts him down. Dongi
Oh
not
my
gonna make
God.
the aggressive play to try to take out Tommy. That could have been all she wrote for
That
Aurora,
coulda-
not only here in
Believe
this match,
coulda woulda
but
beat
in
them.
the entirety of this competition.
Jukies is
gets
dead.
Taken out by Dongi immediately on the regain. This Aula
Now
squad,
Lennon and
gotta
them are
keep our
stuck on a
eyes them.
regain.
They are in
Just
a
like that.
frustrating spot right now on the map. They need a win, and they need it with a ton of points.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, you know,
Heretics
they have
still have
been
2
in
more
this
maps,
weird
Jay.
position of some players staying alive, scrambling just to keep them in the game, but they need to stay in strong fighting form from start to finish. They need to reap in the beginning, and they need to find a really tall placement. So that's something to keep our eye on. Over towards one of our very safe teams at the moment, Team AB Wiz. They have looked unbelievable. Abwiz in particular, he's been a great lockdown anchor for the squad. And
Yeah,
Oki
they've
and
been doing
Prodigy
really
are
well.
2 of our top 3 overall slayers so far, especially after day number 1, and they did prove it that, yep, we are still carrying that into today.
Well, Navi slaying off screen. Prodigy on your screen currently rotating slowly. Dongi in trouble. 4 and Jace. Cloud9, they need a big one. They've got a couple more that they can play, but even still, the first map did not go their way. This team could not get stabilized. They could not regain. They could not play together.
Yep.
And frankly, it was Joe and 4 and Jays that were constantly in the regain blender. So they're hunting down Intex. They need to take out a top slaying squad. So they have more room to work
Nice,
with.
Kay.
They need this side of the map all to themselves. And it's the overreach, the oversight here from Breadman that is giving them the information.
Believe
to hunt down
Challenge.
this team.
Okay, I was gonna say, Believe Challenge on 1v2 is crazy, but he ran to his
Consistent
teammate.
squads right now in SGP Syndicate. Do you really want to try to force them out? Because Dongi and Believe have been the dynamic duo for this SGP squad, but 4 and Jace, good time.
Nice,
Comes up, takes care of
Jace.
Believe. Dongi's in the mix, though. Careful. Syndicate in a little bit of trouble. Dongi able to find 1, but no chance to turn that into a second. And a much better start to the day for 4 and Jace, since he's already on 4.
I think he has more kills now than he had the entirety of the day yesterday.
That is a crazy calm.
Cloud9.
Crazy calm.
How long will it take him? As we swing over to the other side, Bagel being cut down by Zix. Another team that needs a sizable amount of points. You can see off the left-hand side of your screen as we fly in from Stukex, Omit. Watch out for that Omit squad. They like playing center of zone. They like hanging out, and they need kills, but they've been doing about average across the day. They need to continue that average and have one bigger map in the next couple.
Yeah, BSL also on 77 points, so they're also desperately in the need for a big kill.
Dang, Tech and them are kind of in the blender this game.
To tomorrow. The other team that, again, we spent a lot of time talking about in the pre-show, but you throw away one of Amit's bad maps from yesterday,
eliminated.
They are unbelievably consistent across the board. Lots of top 8 finishes for them, as we do have another team already done and dusted. It's Vision. So, you know, a team from Group C, pardon me, that really has not necessarily had the greatest day. They did have one win yesterday, but their first 2 drops have not gone well for them today.
This team, Onyx Ravens,
played 4 matches today.
In Group A needs a massive game. Onyx Ravens down way down the leaderboard. Won the last map. Could be the second team to win 2 maps in a row. So far, we've had 3 map winners, and they've all been Birds. We've had Falcons, we've had Ravens. Let's see if maybe the Birds will continue to soar above the competition, hopefully this time with a few more points. And look, a big question mark, Destroy's team. This one, they're right on the margin. They're right on the fringe. They need like a 10-point game to make sure they're above that 100-point threshold.
And look who they're near. Team Aizen, who also is in the same boat where they're so close, but still
he could get thirded here.
To be done. So if they find a way to battle early here, that may throw a team completely out of
the running. They're doing good. They're doing good.
Again,
not as good as they did yesterday, but still good.
We got so many things to look over the top of as Destroy Squad is in a little bit of trouble here. You see even the kill feed falling, but down towards the bottom side of the map, Zix team looking to possibly farm on that Onyx Ravens after their win.
There's the back and forth we were talking about. Aizen, Omit striking each other. Destroy in the mix as well. Right around the corner, slowly but surely working their way through. We're going to take a quick look back at Cloud9. They needed a big one, and so far, so good. It's about high time for the kid 4 and Jace. We've been telling you, Shift, that this guy's a slayer, and he has not proved it. But this game looking really strong.
Jace is catching so many strays.
Brett does pick up Dongi, by the way, with a headshot. So, Brett, connecting on some of those snipes that we promised.
And speaking of Cloud9, Jace is also in trouble here. Team Aizen has done well. Team Destroy, like you mentioned, we're kind of pushed off this angle on the interior of prison.
Joe's
Team
about
Aizen
to die.
pretty much unchecked, unguarded. Cloud9 stumble their way in and find themselves a very healthy team that punished them completely. Breadman from the windows, though. Of course, he's over by Water Tower. He's looking to finish off any potential kills, and he has gotten at least information that Aizen's team's nearby. He's got a really good look at team number 2, which is Al-Ula. And on top of that, of course, he's also kind of gatekeeping where SGP was with that finish he just found.
Huskers team is GG.
GG.
I don't know what exactly.
A lot of players do like to drop onto the Water Tower.
The org name is.
Joe doesn't look like he has any chance to help, so now it's all up to Breadman to just sit and
Gladiator.
wait and be
Gladiator,
the anchor
that's
they
what
need
it
him
is.
to be. Look, kills, they will come. You've got to stay alive. You can see the timers in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, and counting.
Gun is looking for him.
Hang out here for a while.
Careful.
He cannot fall. Now, if you do damage, you take out an opponent, that's going to
No, Huskers is with Jack. Oh, yeah, he is. Jackal and Balak.
Over some kills, but make sure you stay alive. We're going to swing back down to Na'Vi, though. They've been dominating today with positioning, looking for a couple more kills.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think they're last.
The name of the game
they
for
were last
teams like
yesterday.
Fnatic, Na'Vi, and well, they're trying to continue that once again, but we do have another elimination. BSL down and out. That may be the end of their tournament. They only finish on 7 total kills by my tally, which is not going to be enough for them to get to that around 100-point threshold. So not good news for BSL.
Wow, nice shots out of Prodigy.
Get a little bit of maybe favor for teams like Al-Ula to possibly continue forward, get high placements, but they still need a lot of kills.
Yeah, so much
they're about to.
But for the viewers at home, you got to remember
be
this
GGs.
is the last game for Group A. So if you fall here and you're below about 100 points, there's no chance.
Whoa.
Speaking of falling, Oki down,
No.
Prodigy down, Abwiz the only one left alive, flying back in. That team is now in a blender. They've had a great tournament thus far. They're going to try to restabilize and continue to make some moves up the leaderboard. This is group stages, folks. Top 14, all that matters. And Elo doing everything in his power.
Getting freaking
Keeps
eaten alive by
keeps the team in the
Thermite.
mix. They're so close. They need a big game. and barely, just barely one of them gets out as Abu is fully eliminated.
Dude,
no, Eddie's team isn't playing right now.
Today, they continue to put themselves not just in comfortable spots off drop, but they're finessing around a lot of these team fights to get a couple of picks and stay healthy. They've maybe had one player on a stagger the entirety of the way through these last 2 drops, so they're doing really nicely.
Joe and them are just in a blender.
They're stumbling right over towards where Team
Joe's about to die right here.
This is their last map as well, part of that Group A thing, and well, we got Joe right in front of us.
Yeah, he's dead. Like, what is he supposed to do? There's nothing he can do.
Back to the air he goes. We are running out of daylight on our zone.
He has 4,000 damage for 1 kill, chat.
5 squads. You know who we missed? Destroy is out. I don't know how many points they've done. I don't know how many points they have.
I don't think D and them cool.
Our threshold team. They are right at 100.2 points from what we've done here in the booth. That is a wild stat. Watch out. They could be 14th place at the end of today.
That also means that Team Izon gets a little bit more breathing room, as they have also dropped, but they dropped 11 kills before being finished off. So that's going to be
Look at that. He nearly has 5K damage.
So here's our next multiplier. Cloud9 back into the mix. Couple of plates to be shared between players, but Breadman needs to get active. And like we said, he's gotten nearly 5K damage. He's only been able to secure 2 downs because flat out he hasn't been allowed to play because Jace and Joe have been on the stagger throughout the entirety of this first part of the map.
8 teams remaining.
They're cooking Jace. Jace is literally getting flamed.
You have to breathe because gameplay is so important. If you lose a player, they're not coming back. You've got to earn your place into the final spot here.
Tommy's dead with Resurgence is disabled.
Back on a trade, losing Tommy Aula. They must win, and they must win in incredible fashion. Need around 50 some odd points.
The fact that this team is still alive
seemingly in a bit of trouble,
what I would say is the worst spot to be on the map
off screen, and Na'Vi
is crazy.
Patiently waiting for any enemy to come their way. Frankly, waiting for that multiplier.
Yeah, honestly speaking, this should turn into an Alula storyline pretty much from here on out. They're sitting on 8 kills. A stagger comes back in. Tommy's going to get back into the mix. Smoke will start to push teams towards their direction. This could get really hairy, especially if Alula gets seen first, which Foreign Jace has gotten some damage. He wants to chase.
See, I feel like there's so much hesitation out of Jace. Like, he had Juki's one-shot.
By Lennon. I don't know what he thought was going to happen. Here comes the third party. Juki's in trouble. Juki's is able to take down Jowo, so at least gets one. It's going to be on the back of Juki's and Tommy.
Now they're dead.
The old guard trying to maintain position at the top, but they are so close to being relegated, so close to not making it to grand finals tomorrow.